Hello, hello, welcome to Quackalope. My name is Tony Vicenda. I'm Chief Alchemist at Quackalope?
At Quackalope. I think so. Right now, you've honorary Chief Alchemist at Quackalope,
right.
Yes.
Normally I'm the Chief Alchemist at +1EXP.
Also an excellent place to be employed.
But we are here today. We are going to be doing an actual play of our most recent release, Down We Go. It's a rules light, old school inspired role-playing game, because we know if there's one thing everybody on Quackalope loves, it's a role-playing game.
No. There's one thing that everyone Quackalope has agreed to love, and that is unapologetic flavor text and silly voices.
Awesome.
Which I do assert does make anyone who will sit through that an RPG. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to run this for you. We've talked a lot about RPGs. We have played together, but I've never been able to run an RPG for you.
We've never head-to-head ran an RPG like this. I actually haven't done many like dual RPGs. This is something that I was actually talking to you about, wanting to be able to do with Shira and with some close friends. So this will be a very interesting exploration for me in this room of two-player RPGs, which is not something that people think of as often.
No, yeah.
And then on top of that, we've been playing a lot of like social deduction, war against each other games, and here we have the same puzzle. This is a collaborative storytelling where the DM is my friend. He's not my enemy.
That's correct.
But at the same time, the DM is still the DM. He's also not my ally.
That's true, but Down We Go as a thing, the core system is built on the whole design philosophy that we baked into Down We Go is more of an egalitarian experience at the table. So there are going to be times I ask you to answer questions about what's happening in the world, describe things, fill things out. The goal for Down We Go is actually to keep prep for the GM instead of having to take hours, develop a grand narrative, think of all these great ideas that your players are going to ruin as soon as you sit down at the table. Is the ability to just sit down at the table and tell the story together. So even though I'm the referee, I kind of guide the rules of the world and help move the story forward. There are going to be moments where I look at you and actually ask you to fill some of those details out.
It's one of my favorite things, being a DM in an RPG setting, is the puzzle of listening to what the players say and invite into the story and letting them know that, yeah, that happened. Maybe not the way you intended. Maybe it didn't quite go the way that you thought it would, because I control the world. But yeah, what you just did, like moments ago I said, can I have a pig? And you go, yes. And I go, with wings? And you go, but it can't fly. That type of framework is the puzzle that I love to solve.
Right, and I love that. And I also
For the record, we don't have a pig in this story.
Well, maybe. We don't know yet. And maybe the pig will fly by the end of the session. We don't know what's going to happen. It might level up. But we also, in addition to playing with Down We Go, which the core rules and the core character sheet all fit on one page, we're playing with a few modifications. I created a custom role for today because it's not just classes. You kind of pick and choose from different abilities.
This is not Down We Go.
This is not Down We Go. Yeah. This is from Games Omnivorous. This is called The Bottled Sea. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so rather than having the traditional sneaky kind of thief class, we've replaced that with a class called Salty, which is a pirate inspired class.
And I have fully invested in it with my main character.
And for Down We Go, one of the best things is being able to create content on the fly, manufacture abilities really quick, figure out what your players are excited about, what they want to do, and then build those things really quickly, even if you're not a games designer.
If people want to or are curious about grabbing a copy of this, we will have a link at the top of the video description. Where is that going to lead them?
It's going to take them to the +1exp.com site, but if you go to ttrpg.link/DWG, it'll take you right to the game.
All right. Cool. Let's dive in, and I'm just gonna sit back and let you run the show.
Awesome. Well, and you
as much as that's possible for a duck.
So we're playing in a kind of odd solo mode, right? So you can play a Down We Go with anywhere up to, I would say, 7 or 8 players pretty easily. The sweet spot really for me, I think, is 3, 4, maybe 5 players and the GM. But it's got a solo mode, and it's very easy to play with just 2 players. Also, too, when you play in the solo mode or when you play with just 2 players, usually you let the single player either have a very powerful character that can do a lot of things, or you have them create a group of characters, which is what we've done for you. So tell us a little bit about the 3 characters that you've created, just names and a little bit about them.
So I have my main character here, which is Brim. Brim actually earned his name because his mother gave birth to him in a little buoy. It was kind of off of the side of the boat at the time. She was pregnant. There was a tragic shipwreck. She doesn't talk about it very much. In fact, she hasn't been in Brim's life for very long. But he was actually pulled off of the seashore during the frothy, kind of brimming tide. And that's where he earned his name. He's grown up mostly in kind of lower class seaside areas. He's always dreamed of owning his own ship. And thanks to some very convenient happenstances, he now does, to some degree, if you would call it a ship. He owns a thing that allows him to sail.
Do we want to find out what type of ship it is?
I would love to find out what type of ship
we're going to have you roll a d10. This is going to come straight from Bottled Sea. This is not a Down We Go thing. The type of ship you end up with is going to be determined by a random roll.
8.
8.
That feels like it's got to be nice.
That is, and we're going to give you 3 of these, one for each of you. You have a dolphin chariot.
I have a dolphin chariot.
Yeah, this is what the dolphin chariot looks like. I'm going to fold some stuff around there.
Holy cow.
You got a couple dolphins. So you don't have a pig, but you got some dolphins.
Unusual vessels made out of repurposed jet skis or motorbikes. Hard to use and harder to steer. Requires a tame dolphin to move. An attempt was made once with orcas, which ended violently. I actually heard about that before I acquired this. Common only in the far reaches of the Bottled Sea, favored mostly by raiders.
Yeah. It is fast, it's cheap, but you have to have 2 dolphins. We're going to go ahead and supply you with all the dolphins you need.
Perfect.
It's solo crew, so we're going to give you 3 of them, one for each of you.
I have 3, each one of...
Yeah.
So what had happened is the guy who actually invented the original orca chariot, the tragic ending that I'd heard of, he was a very wealthy merchant in the town. His 2 best allies, some would call them clones, this and that. Some would say that they, there's a lot of speculation as to why they look exactly the same and have a very similar personality type. Mm-hmm. Oddly aggressive, surprisingly enough. Both of them happen to be the only survivors of the famed orca chariot crash.
Okay.
And so they acquiesced or took off with or happened upon a couple spare dolphins and a few spare dolphin chariots, and I might have been out for drinks with them a time or two. We might have some type of subtle relationship. So they need a leader.
Yeah.
And I stood up to be that.
Love it. And you've got only a little bit of room for salvage on there. So you've got all the normal items you can have on you. You can carry up to 10 items kind of on your person and your backpack. Then you got space for one kind of substantive item of salvage.
Well, just for the record, this and that both always fill at least one of their item spots with a spork each.
Okay, that's great.
So
yeah, anything you have in your hands, anything you're wearing, that's fine. You might want to identify what kind of armor you have on, if you have any armor on. Again, you can write it down. If it comes up and you're like, yeah, they would have that, we can talk about it. We can see.
I'll establish the fact that, like, right now, I mean, Brim is going to have slightly more, like maybe some leather or some stiffened, fabric. This and that are pretty bare bones. Okay. I'm thinking kind of jorts in a way, a spork in each pocket. They're and they match exactly, except for one has a very dark black left eye, and one has a very dark black right eye.
Awesome. Yeah. And we're going to be mixing back and forth. Like we said, this was from Bottle C. We're going to be pulling a lot of the tech from Down We Go. And we've taken this adventure, set up, and we put some Down We Go flavor over the top of it. Because Bottled C is a system agnostic, so there's no... You play it in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. You can play it with Down We Go.
You can mix
play
it
with
whatever you want to explore.
And that's what we're doing. Because I think it's a really cool setup. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I think it's a great, fun way to introduce people to... and it blends really well with Down We Go. So we've learned a little bit about your characters. Let's talk a little bit about where they are. So the only city that matters, the only city that has ever mattered for generations now, has been Infinitopolis, the infinite city that constantly shifts and changes and moves. And it's surrounded on one side by a equally shifting sea. There's a group of people who you're very familiar with, having grown up, pulled kind of from the froth, and that's the froth harkers themselves. Okay. They're not exactly family for you, but they are people who have checked in on you, care for you. They pass you work whenever they have a chance to, but their job is to listen to the songs of the sea and predict its movements. Recently, the sea has pulled far out away from the city, and so the docks have run dry, and it's been kind of a problem. The Frotharkers have found themselves with a lot of free time, and really have just taken to throwing huge parties down by the water. And one night they invite you, this, and that out for a good time. And they pass you kind of a strange looking bottle. You've never seen anything quite like it, but as you pass it around between the three of you, you start to feel pretty good. And the night passes, and as you drift off into sleep that night on the warm sand beneath you, warmed by the sun of the day, the world seems to be tumbling over, and you can't quite figure out when or why or how it's happening. Let's go ahead and pause real quick and identify.
Okay.
I think it's always good when you're playing together with people for the first time.
What a good
Do
name.
you have any lines or veils, things that are off limits or that you want handled with certain sensitivity as we're playing?
Other than being respectful of the fact that we have an audience watching us beyond just us sitting and playing, I don't really have any established rules myself.
Cool. And so lots of times we'll use lines veils, but we don't. I don't think you and I need to establish that. Not because they're not important. Actually, I think they're very important. But when you play a two-player game, my number one safety tool, in addition to the X card, which we'll talk about, is to treat each other like we're human beings and like we care about each other, and to talk to each other like we're human beings and we care about each other. So if something comes up that you're not comfortable with, let me know. We'll adapt, change, move things around. The X card is an easy way to do that. But you can say pause, you can say X, will identify what the issue is, and you're like, I don't like that. Cool, we're going to move forward in a different direction without that thing in place. So that's a tool. We have that conversation during the commercial break as you tumble awake and find yourselves floating in the middle of the ocean near a giant whirlpool that's tracking down deep inside. And you're not exactly sure how you got here or where you are. If the waters came in while you slept, you can see that this and that are passed out on their what are the bikes called? The dolphin chariots nearby.
Legs strapped in, like heads just bobbling.
Yeah, and you're kind of like halfway in and halfway out of the water.
I wake up because my hand like dips into it or something. Yeah, okay.
And so the question is, what do you want to do?
And we're in the current of this right now.
Yeah, I mean, it actually doesn't seem to be pulling you in. It seems like it's kind of spinning stable. You're a little ways off. If anything, it actually kind of feels like it's gently pushing you out.
I think I'm confused right now, but I don't actually think that it scares me or anything like that. I'll take my cap off, dip it down into the water, get a big scoop and brim up, plop that right back into my head, just kind of drenching it and hopefully jittering myself awake a little bit. You know, some nice cool current washing over me. I'm going to stretch myself up, grab the reins of the dolphins to start steering them. I assume they've just kind of been drifting around. They're not really taking
they've been kind of just playing around, having a good time, taking it easy.
They're very well-behaved dolphins, but they don't take a lot of initiative, is my thought. And I'm going to do my very best to call out to both this and that to see if I can get their attention and maybe get us figuring out what's going on. Yeah,
they snap to pretty quickly as you call out to them. For anybody out there watching, this and that are Jesse's characters, so you are welcome to voice them whenever, however you want. They're also essentially kind of glorified hirelings or NPCs, a good backup character if something happens to Brim. But
and as far as I'm sort of playing with how comfortable I am with running something like three characters at the same time, I am okay with them being a bit shared and a bit not shared. Like right there, I waited for you to let me know that they woke up instead of saying this and that wake up.
Right. But they are your characters at the end of the day. But if you ever have a doubt, feel free, let me know.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, I think I'll get more used to that as it goes.
Yeah,
it's a different,
for sure. It's a different way of thinking, right? But think about the thing. Brim can tell them what to do, and they will do it. You can also just decide they do a thing, and then I will treat them like I would treat characters generally also.
So if they're waking up, I mean the go-to thing, the first thing you do, as everyone knows, if you're riding dolphin chariots and you're in a Triforce, the first thing you do is you get into the formation of a flying eagle. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the charge. I'm going to hopefully rope this and that both into the sides. We've done this maneuver multiple times, never with any threat associated with it. And even now, I don't feel like there's a threat.
No.
We just want to look really cool.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. You'll definitely get into the flying V. You take a little bit of time, but these are fast things. Like, that there's some vehicles out there that can take 3 days to get the distance that you can get in about a day, right? And so, it's pretty easy for y'all to get the dolphins to pod up, right, and get in formation and head out.
I want to take one nice big sweep, especially if the whirlpool's not really pulling me down. I want to get a little bit close to the brim, so I'm going to send us all in a flying V. I'll have this actually creep in just a little bit to avoid getting too close to that circle, but we're all kind of going to take one big circle trying to peer into the depths here. Okay,
so as you kind of peer down into the depths, you get this, actually let's go ahead and make our first roll. Go ahead and make I would take either a mystical roll if you think you're like, hey, I'm just trying to keep my head on straight, or I would even take a bloodthirsty roll if you're just going to try to not vomit up here, is what I think we're going to do with.
So, I mean, this and that both have rage attached to their bloodthirsty. I think this is a little bit closer to that, which is the tunnel, and also his brother. So I'll do a bloodthirsty roll with this.
So you're going to take a D20.
Yeah.
This is one of the primary two types of rolls you're typically going to make. So you're going to make a D20 plus any levels you have in bloodthirsty. And we'll just do it for this, since this is the closest, and see how things go. So you're going to roll a D20 and add bloodthirsty, and you're trying to get at or over a number that I have in mind.
Okay. Going for the roll. So this is careening forward, kind of leaning down over the edge, trying to peer, chatting with Vat and Brim. It gets a 5.
Okay, this just chums everywhere. Like, absolutely.
Down.
Yeah. And the advantage to this happening, right, as much as it is disconcerting for this...
Brim says, what was that? That goes, what? I'm here. This says, oh!
Right. But you actually see the chum drop into the water, and you can kind of see it cascading down as it slowly swoops around, and it gives you this kind of point of being able to track that this thing is deep and deep and deep, and it takes a long time for the dark spot to disappear, and then it actually kind of seems to drop out of existence at the bottom of this hole. It goes down until absolute darkness, and you could almost swear that you see it drip off the bottom into something else.
Okay. This and that both turn to each other and say in unison at the same time, I don't like it. Brim and this and that then start sailing towards the outer edge. They've peered. They've seen. It's dripped. None of them are big fans of dripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need you to roll a D6 for me.
A D6. Okay.
So in Down We Go, all rolls are player facing. You will very rarely see the referee make a roll. And anytime they put things down, it may not tell you what it is, but you will know that number is there and matters.
So a 4.
We're going to put a 4 on the whirlpool.
Okay.
That number matters.
I love it when numbers matter.
You don't know what it is yet, but you do know it's a 4, right? And it will change over time also, too.
Okay, great.
What direction are you headed?
There's not much sense of direction from what I can tell in this space right now.
It just seems like open water for the most part. I mean, you're used to being on the sea, but as you kind of take note of that, as you're looking around for directions, with a 4 in salty, normally I might make you make a luck roll to see if you could kind of tell some of this information. You're very experienced as a salty individual with life on the water. You were born in the froth. You come from the froth. Other people have adopted the froth, but this is where you belong.
Is it day, evening, night? Like, what's our sense of time?
It is day, but you don't get a sense like it's very bright. It's a little like it's warm, like it's a warm, balmy like summer day. You don't really get a sense that the sun is in the sky anywhere though. Like, which is not normal. Normally the sun is there, and so it's initially a little hard to tell what direction you should head, because the thing you would normally use to navigate is not there.
So this speaks up and says, with the breeze, boss, and that speaks up and said, against the breeze, it's always against the breeze. And Brim kind of looks back and forth at both of them and says, with the breeze tonight, boys.
Okay, and so what direction is the breeze headed? Just point around that hex for me, which direction you want.
The breeze is actually blowing just kind of straight up.
Cool. And it's
not a harsh breeze.
It's a nice breeze. Yeah. So this is the bottled seed bag. I had not put all of the things in here. There's like 20 of them. We're just playing with a smaller one for a little bit of a tighter session tonight. But as you move forward, also, by the way, you can salvage if you want to. You can fish if you want to. There are other things you can do. You have some supplies with you, but you are going to need to find food or find ways to deal with not having food. You're going to need to find
fresh water.
Also too. But as you move forward and you head out into the Bottled Sea, I've got a couple questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
So in Down We Go, there's a thing that we do called lore as loot, which means that I'm going to ask you some rumors. Unlike in other RPGs where rumors might be somewhat true, or false based on what is written down here or what I decide as a GM, anytime I ask you a rumor or a lore question, the answer you give me is always somewhat true. This is the only time you won't exactly know how true it is. This is the only time I make a roll. I roll a d6 back here. If it's a 1, it's barely true.
Okay.
If it's a 6, it's completely true. Now, I can also decide as the keeper or the referee, I love that idea, it's just true.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So go ahead and hand me the d6.
It's currently
There we
marking...
go. That's fine. Well, we can
I'm
just
going to set a D8 as a 4.
There we go. So a fabled creature is rumored to live in these seas. What sign often marks its coming and going?
Oh, I know exactly what marks this fabled hippopotamus octopus creature. Hippo-octopus. Octohippopus. And we're still working on the name. We're still bridging the name. It always starts with a great shadow under the bow of your ship. Something subtle. And then a billowing, as if the sea itself has risen maybe 3 centimeters across the entire plain. And then the low rumble of the gurgling voice of the octohippopotamus, the hippopotamus. We're still working on the name.
Great. So
How true was it? I don't know.
you don't know how true it was. That's what your characters have discussed amongst themselves.
That's a very fun way to integrate. Like, it's a rumor. I believe it is true as
100%.
a character.
That's the thing.
If I see these signs that I have now contributed to the story, I believe these signs are going to be a sign of this. However, it might not be
And
true
here's the
at
thing.
all.
It keeps the GM from even being able to do crazy prep because I'm going to show up and you're going to tell me a part of the
story
adventure
I wanna
that
play.
I didn't know
Yeah.
about, right? Okay, so next question. Normally you would pop around the table, ask different people. You loved someone once and they talked about seas just like this. Who were they and why did they dream of this type of place?
No, my dear mother. She dreamed of this, but it was not the type of dreams you'd imagine. It was her nightmares. That ship that sunk. The story she wouldn't talk about often. Still. Restless. Unrestless. Non-restless sea. A blank sky. I feel like I almost know this place, and at the same time I don't.
What was the name of the ship?
The name of the ship that sunk? The Passion. Passion with a K.
But not where you think. There is a beach bar that makes amazing mojitos in this area, but is also rumored to have invented the transdimensional taco. What are the ingredients to a transdimensional taco?
I've had one. I've had one of these famed transdimensional tacos before. I am pretty sure it was just a very nice sautéed chicken, 3 layers of various types of lettuce, and precisely 7 squirts of lime. Or on the taco shell, of course.
Soft or hard?
Soft. Always soft. You can't really fold space and time if you have something that's too...
I was going to ask, but... All
I'm
right.
telling you, I know what I'm talking about.
What's the name of the bar that was rumored to have created this?
Oh. Barley's Brine Shack.
Please, Brian Jack. Love it. All right. And you talked about these rumors you've heard about this type of sea as you go along.
This has heard all of them. That has heard none of them.
The day passes until you see in the distance the signs of an odd structure. And just in case anyone's wondering, it says Hex 6. I've got a list of things back here that I can check that gives me kind of some of the flavor text and other stuff like that. I don't know if you want to give a closer look at that.
I mean, so what I immediately observe is multiple ships kind of strung together, a large, what looks like fortress, with maybe a battle arena and a giant net set into the center of this place. Seems to be like a lot of very oceanic technology as well. Some spinning wheels, some like water gears and stuff like that.
Yeah, you basically see a scrapyard up ahead of you filled with broken watercraft, and you can see figures moving around on top of it. You can't tell what they are exactly up to, but you do hear the sound of turbines and the smell of fuel burning on the air as the breeze kind of pushes it towards you. It seems to be getting hotter and hotter in this area, but you also see that there are a few different craft floating around the area also too that look like they're in the process of actively being salvaged. Adjacent to that, there does appear to be some sort of blood sport arena. And it looks like that there are people wrestling, tussling, and fighting with each other in the midst of it. And so you can choose when, how, and if you want to approach any part of this, but that is what you see in front of you.
So I'm going to do what you classically know and is always referred to as a tactical dolphin maneuver. That's not a very inventive name, but there is a better name for it.
The TDM.
The TDM, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Brim in his vessel to dive, which is one of my abilities. I'm going to go under this area, pop back up around the back of it, while at the same time, both this and that are going to journey forth and start engaging with the people that are there.
Okay, so we've got Brim going down underneath.
Brim is going to be diving underneath. Wants to position in an area where it's just like he doesn't want to approach from the same side that both this and that are approaching. This and that, very confident. Just going to move forward.
Cool. So diving happens automatically. There's no risk to Brim on this, and you can use that ability up to 4 times a day. So you've used it once on this day. However, that isn't intended to be able to take your entire craft down, but it's a dolphin craft. This feels pretty good. All I'm looking for you here is...
I don't know if you've seen the artwork, but I see scuba gear on that rider.
I see scuba gear on that rider, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's designed to be submersible. No, here's all I want from you, and it's a pretty easy roll. I want you to make a salty roll with D20 plus salty, just to make sure the craft travels safely underneath.
I think that's reasonable. No one would argue it's the best built craft.
Right.
No one would argue that.
And so, mainly because this is a salvage area, there's a lot of different things, and that's really what we're looking at.
Looking at a very confident 10.
That's fine. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, 10's fine. Like, because you use an ability, it's very easy roll.
Okay.
And so, like I said, really it was more about, because you didn't have to worry about the dolphins, you didn't have to worry about you just had to worry about navigating.
The craft might fall apart.
You're good. And you pop back up on the other side. Tell me a little bit, as this and that, are they trying to attract the attention? Are they headed towards the blood sport arena?
It's not really attention, it's more the blood sport. This and that have a bit of a hankering for fresh fluids. Really any fluids, but fresh fluids are what they prefer.
Are their preference?
Yeah. And it's not a consumption thing, it's just they take pleasure in, don't judge people for what they like.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there is somebody like calling out like, hey you two, like you looking for a good time? You looking for a fight?
That's this. I'm that. No, this is that. No, I'm this. That. What'd you say?
Did you want to get in on this?
Can that join as well?
Yeah.
All right, so this and that, both of us in?
You want a doubles match or one at a time?
I prefer both of us versus one person.
Well, that's no. I mean, if you want,
both of us we're very similar, really.
I mean, if you want to, there is the champion. He'll
I
do
have
it.
half of my brain. He has half of his brain. We both have at least one full brain. It works. Trust me.
I mean,
Isn't that right? That's right. That.
We can make it happen.
Would love it. Wow.
I wouldn't recommend it.
You're good of recommendations.
All right.
Very handsome.
So this and that pull their chariots
Do you
up.
know a good burger shop?
Not nearby.
All right, after then.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
So this isn't that pull up and park their dolphin chariots
Yeah.
next to the Bloodsport Arena. So
It's a good day.
So you're gonna choose your
Sun
weapons
isn't
here.
shining,
They confiscate your sporks,
No.
So, yeah.
No.
They said those aren't regulation combat sports.
I want to be very clear, this is a serious problem.
Well, tell you what, you can take them in, but you can't use them.
All right.
Sporks are off limits. Immediate disqualification.
You won't take my sporks.
All right. So they offer you to pick from a range of weapons.
Okay.
You could use a boomerang, a spear gun,
Less spork-like.
a harpoon,
Kind of spork-like.
a whalebone saw, or a shark tooth machete, or a barbed fish net that you can throw.
Okay.
You can each pick one.
That takes a barbed fish net,
Okay.
and this is going to take a harpoon.
Okay. So go ahead and mark those down on your character sheets.
Okay.
You have them.
So a fish net and a harpoon.
So you all of a sudden the match that's happening right now finishes up. It's a couple of scrappy fishermen fighting and punching back and forth. One of them finally goes down, falls into a hole in the net, and disappears into the water down below.
Now,
immediately you see shapes converge upon him. And
for the record, and I'm curious about this, Brim was just under this area.
yeah.
Did Brim, am I able to do any type of perception? Was I able to notice anything as I was
Sure,
going
so there's
down?
not a perception thing. You just ask questions as you're going. However,
Yeah, so I was curious specifically,
Yeah.
and I wasn't probably looking down. As I was going under, though, I was very curious in what the bottom floor of this net-like
sure.
structure
And you
was.
went under the net-like structure specifically.
Yeah,
Cool.
I wanted to sail directly under and behind.
So you notice that there's a bunch of holes in the boats all around as you go, and you can sense a little bit of motion as you do that. I think this is a great. I think it's a great narrative scene. He's actually passing underneath as this you see this body hit the water from above. It gets silhouetted, and all of a sudden you watch a bunch of what look like very large piranhas rush out and devour this thing. Now you are down low. These creatures are obviously looking for blood and looking up high.
Like the first surface layer of this.
Yeah, and they all of a sudden you just see you see them start to wrap around this flesh. You see the pink of the blood kind of fill out as this giant.
It's the piranhas that don't have teeth. It's more
cloud.
sucking motion, isn't it?
Sure.
Horrible.
Not
slurping.
these ones.
Oh,
There's a lot of
awful.
slurping though. Yeah.
I mean, it's like they kind of liquefy the body without
A little bit.
chewing on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's
And
awful.
so you see
man.
this pink cloud of water, and then all of a sudden a skeletal form just drops down past
Just
you
the
as you
skeleton?
keep on going,
Oh, okay. Great.
and pop out the other side.
I feel good about this. Yeah, good.
So that march, and you hear a little bit of, and they hand what looks like just a potted flower to the individual who won, but he seems beyond excited to get this little bag of dirt with a flower blossoming out of it, and so he heads off super excited. He's showing all of his friends off to the side.
Look at that. It's glorious. No, not me, you idiot. That right there.
All of a sudden, you hear chanting and pounding and banging on metal as they say you start hearing them chant, "Let him out! Let him out! Let him out!" And y'all are kind of pushed out onto the netting. It's pretty precarious. It is. There's a little bit of a balancing act here that takes place as you move out. There's spots where it's a little bit closer, spots where it's very wide, but the footing here is
That falls immediately.
very unsure. Does
Not
he?
down, just
down.
onto
Oh
the
yeah,
net.
into the net. Kind of gets hung up in a little bit.
It's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
This is pretty good at balancing, actually.
you see
One has two right legs, one has two left.
you hear the
at least
creaking
what they
of
say.
metal as they pull up what looks like the front end of a Volkswagen bug that has pontoons underneath
Yeah.
it. All of a sudden, the front hood starts to lift up, and out steps this crouched figure that then stands up to about 7 feet tall. They have a fishing net thrown over their shoulder and a trident slung over the other arm, with a hooded mask pulled down over them, and they spin around their trident in a pretty flashy manner.
This turns back to the overseer and says,
I didn't get a mask.
He just tosses a rag down to you.
I put it on.
And and as you put it on, He goes, no, pull it down over your eyes. It'll take a lot of the horror out for what's about to happen. So the way initiative works, right? Because there is about to be combat, is you're going to roll a d6.
Okay.
I will pass it back over to you. If you get a 4, a 5, or a 6, your side acts first. If you get a 1, a 2, or a 3, the other side acts first.
Okay.
You just decide, even if there are multiple players, y'all just decide who goes first when it's your turn to act.
Sure. Okay, great. 4.
Okay, 4. So y'all have the momentum on him. Had this fallen down into that or that?
That had stumbled
Okay.
quite a bit.
So they can extricate themselves. They can also do something from that position. Like, it's not bad, but
Sure.
they do. There's a little bit of pulling yourself back up that needs to happen.
Yeah, so that is going to go through the process of standing back up very confidently. That is also the one that is currently holding the fishnet.
Okay.
This has a harpoon. And how long is this harpoon?
It's probably 3-4 feet long.
Okay, so a little bit of reach. And do I notice, are there any more solid parts of this kind of dipped netting? Is there like an outer railing or anything like that?
It is kind of like, it's almost like a trampoline where there's a little bit of space all around the edge,
Okay.
and the entire thing is a little bit suspended towards the middle with a giant like red X towards the middle. It does look like it's not necessarily more solid towards the middle, but there's a lot of fabric padding that makes it look like it's a little bit easier to get around.
Okay, so this with the harpoon is going to do about 2 things right now. First, he's going to, as subtly as possible, swing down with the harpoon blade just to see how strong the netting is and see how sharp the blade is. I want to see if I can cut one line. Like, I'm not trying to cut the whole sole. I'm just trying to chip a piece of rope. Then I just want to take the pole and help stand my brother up.
I think that's fine. Yeah, and I think if you're helping him up, I think he's up this turn.
Yeah.
He can act also too.
Yeah,
And
we're grouped together. We're next
Yeah.
to each other. We're prepared.
As you swipe, let's say so. There's a couple options here.
Yeah.
One, you can either make a salty roll, and it doesn't really matter for your characters.
Sure.
To keep your footing as you've all of a sudden severed a piece of the net near you.
Okay, I did sever it, though.
Or 2, make a mystical roll. Yeah, you cut through. Like,
Great.
if you're with the attempt to. Or 2, make a mystical roll to have decided which one to cut that wouldn't cause you too much problem.
I will make a mystical roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a mystical roll.
They're both +0 for you, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Is
But
it
you're making a mystical.
D6?
D20.
D20. Here we are. That's why I wasn't worried about it. 13.
13. That's fine. Yeah. So you like cut it, and all of a sudden you're like,
Figured going in with confidence.
Yeah.
And pretending like 13 was good.
no, you're fine. Some rolls
Wasn't worried at all.
Some rolls will get significantly harder, but yeah. So for a lot of simple things, 12, 13 are going to be passes. For potentially very dangerous things, which that's not undangerous,
Yeah.
but it was a good choice to figure
So
out.
I confirm my harpoon is sharp enough, and the the net
can be
cuts.
cut. Yeah. And so
Great.
So yeah, does that who got helped up?
That got helped up by this.
Does that want to do anything?
So that got helped up. I feel like we're pretty far away. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm imagining we're on 2 sides of the arena.
You're about 60 to 80 feet apart.
Yeah, and so we're both going to get together. How far are we able to actually move forward into the arena itself while still being grouped?
Without having to worry about where your footing goes.
Yeah.
Only about 10 feet per.
Yeah,
per
so we're
round.
going to get up. We're going to be readied, but we're going to move confidently forward.
Okay, and are y'all moving towards the middle?
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving to the middle, and you all of a sudden watch as the champion across from you like flexes their knees, starts to kind of shake the net, and then starts to bound towards the middle about twice as fast as y'all are going.
Okay, pause here. Zooming back out to Brim. Brim is coming up from the other side of this arena.
Love it.
Is there a way to get into some type of viewing position? Is there a way to get to a place that would allow me to see what's happening?
So the back of this is set up, and we can very much use the actual visuals on here to kind of tell us a little bit. There's some spectator stands. There's some reflective lights to help stand up. I can't imagine, given the general setup, that there are probably not a good number of, let's say, ropes or rigging behind there. So if you had an ability that lets you traverse very quickly using ropes or rigging,
Yeah,
then
so I both have a swash ability, which is more fighting, but I assume that it adds a little bit of maneuverability. But I have a swing ability.
yeah.
Which is
I might have been
to,
suggesting you use that ability. In
Yeah,
this
so
exact
it's comfort on deck. It's gonna allow me to easily maneuver across vines, riggings, ropes, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and really, this is intended to be like, hey, can I cut a rope and then all of a sudden zoom up through the air or
I want to be
swing
in the
across?
stance. Yeah, I want
Right.
to be. I want to sever something, be up in the stance. I'll leave my dolphins parked kind of around
Cool.
to the backside.
So you can go ahead and use one use of swing, which you have 4
Yeah.
of for the day.
Sure.
To go ahead and you find you pop up on the other side. You look at the rigging back here. You identify which one is weighted. That if you cut here, you can just zoom up and you literally just pop up to the top of the back of the stands and can see what's happening.
As I land on the top of the stands, I do, and I'm not one to do this very often. I do say, "Damn it."
Just
Damn it.
and a older woman
Yeah.
who brought her child to this blood match covers his ears at your horrible utterance.
Sorry, man.
And so yeah, you see kind of this situation unfolding. You can see this muscular, lithe, very athletic champion surging towards this and that
Cool.
down in the arena.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Feel good about it.
Yeah.
So he's surging. That's his action?
That was his action,
We're
yeah.
back now to this and
Yeah, we'll have put that maneuver back at the end of that. And this and that are ready to go.
he's coming way too quick. I'm very concerned about this. And all I have is a harpoon, a net, and a couple of idiots.
It is a barbed net.
I hear what you're saying, but one miss with a barbed net means I no longer have a net.
That's true. Unless you don't let go of it.
This and that. Is it one of those nets that's on a string more like a lasso, or is it like a large fishing, like you drop it beside the ship?
There are places to go to it. So the combat nets in gladiatorial times, which is what this is intended to do, like there are some barbs in it, but largely they were used to trip, and so you would like hold one in and almost use them like a rug, or you would whip them over people's heads.
So it's not the fishing like
It's
you're
not
throwing.
a fishing long throw one, but you can get about 8 feet of reach out of it if you use it properly.
This and that, are going to do their secret handshake, which is just one high five and a lot of finger diddling.
Right.
And then that's how they communicate. They now are pretty on board with what each one of them is going to do. They nod to each other, and they're each going to grab one side of this net and just kind of start spacing apart as they continue walking through. Not so the net's taut, but just so it's spread out between them, still focused on keeping our footing as much as possible.
Okay. So just so you know, if are you continuing to move forward at the same speed?
Still moving forward, yeah.
So I said about 60 feet at the very beginning,
Yeah.
right?
I've moved about 10.
And then this will be 10 again.
So it'd be 20 forward.
And he's moving about twice as fast as you.
He moved 20, so we've both crossed.
So when he moves this time,
Would be 20 feet away from us.
will meet you because it's 60 feet closing.
not 80.
Yeah.
He's
You're fine. I'm just letting you know fictional positioning, kind of where everything's at, since we don't have a map in front of us.
I think keeping our position, spreading the net out a little bit between us, getting a little bit far apart, so he has to choose which one he's going after, possibly. I think that's where I'm gonna land. Yep.
Okay, so you do that as he comes in, right? He takes his trident and he brings it down towards. Just give me a D2 roll, since which D2 roll D4 and tell me whether it's an even or odd number.
It is a 2 even.
So he's gonna swing towards that.
Okay.
So you make defense rolls. Defenses for your characters would be plus salty, or sneaky if we were playing in the normal mode. So you're gonna roll a D20 and add any salty that you have to see if he hits you or not.
That's a 3.
And you're rolling a D20, right?
It was a D20.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Here's the deal. Here's what happens. He slams the trident right upside that's head. Okay. That is going to take 2 hits of damage of the 5, and you have 5 to start. So you just go ahead and mark off 2 of those.
Of this?
Yeah, those little boxes. You take that's your HP.
Of this.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah. So you have 5 hit
or
points. That.
This one?
That. That one.
Okay. That's a significant amount of damage.
Yeah, his head is bloody. His ears are ringing. He's kind of cracked around a little bit. But yeah, it was not enjoyable. But that's his move. And from the stands, like Brim watches this guy close in and just side hammer that.
Brim's not that worried. Yeah, this and that have always been very, capable characters. So this is going to take the first action then.
Okay.
And I would like to, kind of mimicking the way that he had been bouncing on. Now, can you please explain? I've taken the ability Rage.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that ability does?
We'll read it out loud so that everybody knows.
Well, it's tiny. Do 2 attacks, but draw free attack from the closest enemy.
Right. So you're, rather than doing 1 attack on
Yeah.
your turn, going to have the option to attack twice.
Okay.
However, when you are done, the enemy will get a chance to attack you. Because you are attacking blindly with no defense. You are enraged and just hitting him.
So this, upon seeing that, get hit by this, but not this, specifically
By
that.
this guy.
What?
By this guy.
Which one?
The guy.
The guy.
The guy.
Specifically.
Yeah, the champion.
This is going to do 2 things at once.
Okay.
Always been the brains of the operation.
That's what my pa always said. He said, that, you're a charmer. This, you're smart. And I said, thank you, pa.
He's gonna he's going to grab and swing the net up and around.
Okay.
Since the guy is currently very close to that and the net is stretched back, he's going to try to get around the back. And at the same time, I'm going to aim at just like 2 chords, but specifically the 2 chords that are balancing, that guy's weight.
Oh, got you. So your first attack is going to be the net.
Try to entangle him a little bit.
The second attack is going to be towards the cables.
Pop 2 cables underneath one of his feet.
Cool. I'm going to give you advantage on the first attack because it is a corporate action also too. I mean, even though that you had a plan, you had a setup. So go ahead and roll 2 d20.
Someone said cutting the cord to begin with was a plan and set up.
Go ahead and roll 2.
Who am I? Just
it is, but that's going to
brains of
happen.
the operation.
That's the second thing.
I can't believe that.
Go ahead and roll a d20 twice and add your bloodthirsty to each one, and then take the higher of the 2 results.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was thinking of other fun.
You're going to roll a d20.
Perfect, a d20.
And you're going to add your bloodthirsty to it, but you're going to do that twice because you have advantage.
First roll sticks me with a 17.
Okay.
Second roll sticks me with a 20.
Is that a dirty 20?
19 plus 20. It's not. If it was a clean 20, I would be cheering.
Yeah. So natural 20 is also an ability slot for you. So they are super useful, especially when you only have 1 point.
I am ticking with this.
Right. You cannot rage again today.
Yeah.
So you successfully go up high. You get this guy wrapped in the net.
Kind of bounce off the net a little bit. I've learned a little bit of how the tension of the net works.
You do need to roll your second attack to cut the ropes now, though. So go ahead and roll a d20 and add bloodthirsty again. No advantage this time.
That is going to be a 10.
So cool. The ropes, the good news is, are not a champion that you're trying to attack. So the numbers of the ropes are much lower.
Perfect.
10 cuts the ropes underneath this guy. Absolutely.
Okay.
And he starts to plummet down, and then you can watch the barbs kind of catch in his flesh and slow him down. Make a luck roll for me. So luck rolls are always negotiated. They are a d6 roll, right? Yeah. So typically they're going to start at a 50-50 chance.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say reasons I think you should the roll should be harder, and you're going to try to argue me about why the roll should be easier.
Okay.
You always want to roll high on a luck roll. So you always want to roll towards a 6. So this guy is a champion.
Yeah.
He is adept at maneuvering in these nets.
And very large.
And yeah, but I mean, you cut 2. You slice through 2. I don't think the large is
underneath his foot at the same time I covered him in a net.
So I would move it normally to I would normally move it up 1, and I think
also I'm not entirely sure this guy doesn't have a rage ability himself. But he definitely outbalanced himself by leaping forward 20 feet and smashing my brother in the face.
Yeah, no.
He's not really stable at the moment.
So I think what you need to do is make your luck roll, right? I think it is 4. I think it's a 4 out of 6 roll. So you need to not roll a 1 or a 2.
Have you ever been surprised by 2 idiots?
I have.
Oh, okay, great. Then you know what we're talking about. Perfect. It's a 3.
All right, so a 3. Sorry, I said it backwards.
said
You needed to roll a 5 or a 6.
No,
I said
that's
it-
not
I said
what
it
you said.
backwards.
You said I would have. Well,
Because I said the roll was harder.
So it's no, but I said the roll was easier, and you specifically said don't roll a 1 or a 2. So now we're at a divide. Either
Okay.
I get this at a even split. It's not either way, or
Okay,
hear me
that's
out.
fine.
hear me out,
I'll give it to
'cause
you-
If you had communicated to me that
I'll
I
give it to
needed
you
to
in
roll
even-
a 5 or 6, I would have done that.
Okay.
So you choose your luck.
I'll let you choose. You can either re-roll it and have to roll a
Yeah.
5 or a 6, or you can let it stand and it's a failure.
Or no, not in a failure. An even across the board.
And even across the board would mean you needed to roll a 4, 5, or 6.
Because
you wanna roll high.
Don't worry. Like I said, if you had effectively communicated that I needed to roll a
Right.
5 or 6, which I think is completely biased,
So roll
I
a
would
5 or a
have
6.
in fact rolled a 5 or a 6. As displayed.
All that happens here is that you for a second
dice never lie.
see him drop down, and you in hope for a second enters your heart. Like your plan was executed flawlessly. You have damaged this guy. He was marred by the barbs of the net. His feet drop out from underneath him. He is plummeting downwards, and then all of a sudden,
Have you considered that has not acted yet and does in fact punch him in the groin?
well, I was going to say all that happens is he catches one of the lines and is swinging down below.
That's okay. I'm just saying. Like I just want to.
It's still your action.
Reiterate.
That can still act. The groin is out of unless he's going to drop down. The groin is out of reach.
All right, fine. Well, that's really all that wanted to do. That would like to spend most of his action rebalancing from the strike on the head.
Okay.
I assume dizzy, spinning. There's 3 thises and only 2 that's. I want to get back down to like 2 thises and 1 that is sort of the thought. But I did notice my brother swing the net around. I would like to help at least support that action, tangle him up a little bit more. I want to make whatever success I currently had from that a little bit more of a success when it comes to that net really having wrapped up this guy.
Oh, cool. So yeah, so he's hanging down there. The net's kind of like wrapped. So you just kind of want to wrap him a little bit
Just keep
more.
spinning him.
The world's spinning, so
Yeah, I would take either a. I mean, if you're trying to do damage, I would say that's a bloodthirst roll. But it sounds more like you're trying
damage,
to.
it's more entangled.
Yeah, so I would say a mystical roll is probably what we're going to look at. So
Okay.
D20 plus mystical.
We are looking at a solid. Hear me out. 3.
You're pretty sure he's wrapped tighter.
Awesome.
But your brother is pretty sure you loosened him up.
why'd you do that? What do you mean?
He's going to take his turn to try to pull himself back up.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and have you make another luck roll. I think with all the interference y'all have been doing, I think one of the advantages of messing around with the net is it makes it a little bit harder for him to climb up, even if it doesn't entangle him. So go ahead and just make me a straight up luck roll to see if this guy is able to climb back up or not.
And we're arguing about whether or not
We can't. I think it's a flat roll.
It's just a straight up. I'll give
I mean,
you.
if you've got a reason,
I feel like I'll argue myself into it being more difficult because, rules. Whoa. 4.
4. He is not able to pull himself back up, so he's still he's still down there the entire time, and y'all have action.
So that's his whole.
That's his whole turn. He could not pull himself back up.
His whole thing is not pulling himself back up. Is it 2 hands, a hand that's gripping on right now?
Yeah, he's got one hand kind of on a rope up here. Then he's got like a piece down here that's like hanging down that you had severed.
Okay.
That he's using to try to pull himself back up, but it's not a very good position.
Yeah, that should have hopefully got to a point where not everything is ringing anymore.
Correct.
And would like to use the first of his rage to test out the bounciness of this net.
Okay.
I saw the guy bounding across.
You don't have to use rage to bounce and attack.
You haven't heard what else I'm doing.
Okay. You tell me all the things you want to do.
Oh, okay. All the things?
Well, then I'll tell you if you need to use an ability. Like, there's no reason to use the ability if you don't need to.
So I'm going to get a very good rhythm going.
Okay.
Like, I want to be able to get a little bit of height. I want some balance. I want to be swinging back and forth. And then that would like to scream cowabunga and then jump up into the air and come directly through the hole onto the guy's head.
Come directly through the hole?
The hole that the guy is currently on.
And he wants to...
Like both heels...
He wants to pass through the net?
Both heels to the face.
With nothing underneath him except for the guy?
Well, the guy's there.
I'm just making sure.
That's enough.
I mean, I think this sounds like a normal bloodthirsty roll to me.
Okay. You're factoring in the height that I want to have from bouncing on the net.
I mean, I think if you want some sort of extra oomph
We don't need it. If you think it's a...
Because I think it's a single attack, and rage is really meant to be 2 attacks. If you want to do, if you want me to have you do something else to make it harder, but I think bloodthirsty roll makes sense.
Nope. That is bounding up and down.
Yeah.
It's going to come right down. That is a 16. No, 17.
17. Awesome. So you plant your feet squarely on this guy's shoulders. You feel the barbs rip out of his flesh as he is pushed down off into the waters below. The entire arena gasps and goes silent.
Okay.
As all of a sudden those dark shapes start to emerge out and swirl around this figure. You hear him cry out, "But wait, tell them as all of a sudden his body gets ripped to shreds by the fish down below. What was that's plan to not follow this individual down into the water?
You forgot. I have a brother.
And my brother has a 4 or 5 foot pike, I believe, or harpoon.
They do.
Which has been extended and positioned to be held onto.
Okay.
So, as is jumping, these brothers know what they're doing.
Sure.
Clearly, the insanity has been transmitted. So the harpoon has been jutted through the net at the same time that I have landed on the head of our opponent.
So is it like? But I gotta know here. Is it between your legs, keeping you from going too far down? Did he stab into you to keep you from plummeting?
It wasn't the sharp side of it. Sadly enough, it was the wood side. The sharp side may be where I'm gripping.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to figure out how it's preventing you from falling.
So it's mostly stretched across the hole. The assumption or hope was it wasn't through the legs. It was more like chest area
so he would his arms would catch.
His arms would catch. Hopefully the hands would catch. I'm not saying it's a surefire thing.
I like this.
It's the best plan.
I think the brothers have established that they are good at coordinated action.
They are good at coordinated action.
So we're going to make a luck roll to see if it hits the legs or hits the arms.
Okay.
Normally I would say we start 50-50. I think because of coordinated action, and I think this is probably not the first time this has happened.
No.
For sure. I mean, maybe this exact situation, maybe it wasn't a champion last time, maybe it wasn't, but certainly.
It wasn't even a net, it was a sand pit, but same difference.
So I think we make it a little bit easier, right? So it's going to be a, we're going to go down to, it is now a 4 and 6 instead of a 3 and 6 chance, right? So we're going to make it a little bit easier. And then is there anything else that you think should be a contributing factor?
They're really good brothers.
Okay, go ahead and make. You got a 4 and 6 chance of it being successful.
I think you've been fair to me.
So again, you don't. This time I'm saying it correctly, and you do not want to roll a 1 or a 2.
I never.
You roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6.
I would never roll. Thank you for the clarification on that, because I would probably roll like a 1 or a 2. If
So what happens is that comes down squarely on the right between the legs.
See, what happened was
1 damage.
1 damage to that.
1 damage, maybe a little internal bleeding.
Yeah.
But not into the water down below, and that's the important thing.
That recovers faster than you would assume. Looks over at this and says, "Again."
So you hear, like, after the gasping, then you hear the sick grimace as all of a sudden that hits on the other. Goes, "Oh!" as you crunch down on the harpoon, and then like a gong sounds out, and like everybody erupts in like cheers and like yelling, and all of a sudden like the lady forgets to like earmuff her boy, and she's clapping also too, and the kid goes, "Damn it, that's right!" And then she just shoots you the worst.
Oh
look.
no! I'm sorry, ma'am.
And as all of a sudden like their like music goes off, fireworks shoot into the air. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new champion, or should I say 2 new champions. Are y'all ready to face each other in a death by trial combat to see who takes the ultimate seat?
Both of us, this and that, draw their sporks.
Whoa, disqualified! No sporks allowed in the arena, I'm sorry. They give you consolation prizes.
Okay.
So you roll a d10 for me?
Yeah. Where's my 10? Is that? That's a 12. What if... No, that's an 8. This a 10? That's a 10. 7.
They bring you out 7 potted plants of different kinds, with these little seedling sprouted plants.
That eats one immediately, specifically the one that's flowering.
Okay, that sounds great. I love
am
it.
seeking health.
I love how you're applying video game logic.
I need a second one.
They taste planty.
No.
Nothing particularly pops off health-wise, though.
But check this out. I do think I feel better.
And so you created an additional little box there. So you don't feel better, especially, but yeah, everybody cheers. People want your autograph afterwards.
And we have 5 plants.
And you'll have 5 plants
Love
and
that.
7 pots of dirt.
Okay, great. I'm going to assign them here. 5 plants, 7 pots of dirt. Amazing.
2 pots of dirt, sorry.
2 pots. Yeah, well, 7
To create
total.
7 total pots with 5 plants in them, yeah. But yeah, that's the combat has ended. You're able to walk around, talk to people, glad hand a little bit. There's some additional like fights start up. There's apparently some sort of like young student blood sport training like session that's happening right afterwards over the giant piranha pit. But like everybody just kind of keeps on carrying on, and you see some people kind of move off towards the salvage yard, kind of far in the distance. Also, too, across kind of the little expanse of water.
So, Brim is going to do a beeline, like pushing through the crowd. I understand we have 2 new champions. They're probably fairly popular.
Well, they got disqualified, so they're not champions.
2 new disqualified champions. Still there might be 2 or 3 people that thought they were pretty cool. Brim is going to make a beeline for them and come up. Not quite like he knows them, but like he's one of the people trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
And then this and that both turn to him and say, "Brim, good day. Where were you?" It completely spoils his whole plan to not be associated with them.
Well,
together as
that
a-
all happens.
Yeah.
You're correct.
just letting you know, they're all back together as a group. I would like to, Brim being the intelligent one, would like to take 4 of the plants and see what type of bartering there is here. What
Love
type
it.
of negotiations might be had.
It seems like here there's mostly it's mostly a place to like win these things, but as you kind of like look around, start talking to people, you start to hear a little bit, pick up a couple different things through conversations. You hear a few different groups that kind of consistently get mentioned. Most people kind of point you over to the salvage yard for barter, but like is there a certain type of item you indicate you're looking for? You like, hey, I'm looking for something that can help my brother here.
I'm looking for a seashell that can be used as some type of instrument.
Okay.
And I'm looking for possibly a necktie.
Okay, go ahead and make a D20 roll for me.
A D20 roll, okay. We have a. Hear me out.
Okay, so
I don't want them to know.
you find a.
I'm good at dice.
Sorry, roll a D4 for me again.
Love that. Love the D4.
You find like somebody like opens up a container and they're like, "I've got this."
4.
Right, and they kind of show it to you, and they're like, they open it up and you like, they're like, "Yeah, we'll trade you for that," and it's another pot of dirt.
Oh no!
It looks healthier than the dirt that these plants are currently in, though.
Does it?
Yeah.
So they'll trade me dirt for dirt?
They'll trade you dirt for dirt, and that was literally a random roll here, and the roll was fertile soil.
Is it a good value, dirt for dirt?
Yeah, it's good. Like, this is fertile soil. Like, you feel like, hey, look, I could trade these 2 pots of kind of old dirt that I've eaten the plants out of for this new dirt, and that'd be a pretty sweet trade.
For one pot of new dirt.
For 1 pot of fertile soil.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that, so I'm going to cross off my old soil.
This is the real kind of exciting stuff that you only get in indie RPGs.
Hear me out.
People trading dirt for dirt.
I'm gonna trade for this new fertile soil. That is going to take 1 half handful and consume it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, make a bloodthirsty roll to get it all the way down.
Bloodthirsty roll. This?
Yep. D20 plus bloodthirsty.
That's going to be a 15.
Yeah, you choke it down.
Yep.
It's in your gut.
Okay.
It's helping your biome.
Love that.
Yeah. Good gut biome.
All right.
But yeah, like, I mean, it looks like mostly here that they have dirt and seeds to trade. That's what they got.
Do I eat the seeds? I see what you're doing. You're stringing me on. I need to eat more things.
Exactly. It's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Trust me, it'll work. It'll work. My head's fine. I don't need a bandage. Just find me some damn seeds.
Woman closes her kid's ears again.
Are you looking for seeds?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can I get more information on what seems to be the conversation? We found a merchant. They don't have a lot to trade.
Yeah.
We know of a fighting pit. Is there an opportunity to maybe learn and train anything here? Is there some type of head hierarchy that I can see that's established here?
No, it seems like this is just a pretty ragtag group of people. They mostly they consider themselves to be part. They keep on referring to themselves as we're kind of with the collectors, right? Yeah. And they seem to be saying collectors with a capital C. You don't exactly know a lot about what that means, but it seems to be some sort of group and then
I think unless there's I want to do one maybe perception roll before we head out. Not perception. I want to understand a little bit more about this space as we make our way towards our dolphins. We are planning to leave right now unless something.
So you're just kind of taking things in.
Yeah.
There's not a specific question.
They didn't have neckties. They didn't have a cell that could be used as an instrument. What else can a man want, really? Right. I tried the dirt. It did heal me a little bit.
Ideologically, increased your gut biome.
And
so you as you get out, as you're kind of headed on your way out, you do kind of take in you notice a bunch of crests that are on these flags around. It's this kind of sea with what looks like a couple of decorative pieces of junk painted around it. It's probably a sign of this. You're not, you figure it must be part of this kind of faction that they belong to, but it looks like it's mostly, you're getting kind of this big theme of maybe these are junk creators or people who are building things or stuff like that. There seem to be a lot more of them near the actual salvage yard. That's like I said, kind of across a short span of water off in the distance. But here in the actual, it just seems like that people come here looking for
kind of rough,
looking to fight and looking to get plants and dirt.
Yeah, we're gonna hop on our dolphins. Consider it a successful day's labor. 5 potted plants is not nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. I think we're gonna hit the road.
Cool. So y'all hit the road. You can your bikes are designed to be kind of stopped and slept in. Also, too, there's little recline back seat. Are you headed out into a totally new direction, or what are you up to?
Well, with the wind.
Against the wind. Which way is the wind blowing right now?
The wind is blowing this way, so we're going to go against the wind.
Cool.
We're going down to.
I'm going to do this to the thing. Not that means anything. Mm-hmm.
Okay, lovely. So we have what looks like a hex number 12, We have what looks like a sea garden of some type, and then a giant worm snail biome science experiment type facility kind of up there floating on top of the ocean as well.
Yeah, so you see these you as you enter into this section of water. It takes a few waters. You stop for the night. The waters are pretty calm for the most part. Go ahead and roll a D10 for me. Let's see exactly what the weather is like.
7.
Cool. Other than that, the
weather's cool.
The weather is calm and cool.
Okay.
You don't. There doesn't seem to be a cloud in the sky. You'll kind of fall off to sleep.
And no sun in the sky as well.
That's true. You guys fall off to sleep for the night. Do y'all do anything particularly as you're drifting off for the night?
Oh, we sing a lullaby.
How does it go?
Oh, sweet sky, singing high above. I always think of you as a dove. Oh, sweet sea, rocking me below. I always wish your depths I did know.
Cool. Yeah. Do y'all...
You know what? It's a common ballad.
I do. Common. Do y'all all sleep at the same time?
This and that absolutely sleep at the same time. Brim sleeps counter to both of them.
Okay. So do they switch? So if there's somebody awake at any point in time?
Brim is... I'd say there's probably a bit of crossover where you're nodding and definitely like exhausted. This and that are not the best at waking up and very good at going to sleep.
Cool. Roll a D3 for me, which is a D6 divided by 2.
1.
1. Cool. Roll a D4 for me.
2.
So we're gonna go 1, 2. There are some weird tides that pick up as you
Am I getting blown off course?
had drifted into this kelp area.
Oh, come on.
And then got pushed back out. You had seen this kind of weird structures in the distance that you couldn't quite make out other than this giant shell on top before you got pushed over onto
Tile number 5.
tile number 5, which is a giant machine. It's a double craned contraption that looks like it's actually pulling dirt and seabed sand up from the ground. It looks like it has the same flags that you had seen before, that C with the articulated kind of artistic junk arranged around it.
Okay.
And you also see that there is a roaming mound of giant red crabs that seem to be in some sort of feeding frenzy at something that they are finding in the water.
Do I know these crabs as a species that would have been in the same, like the islands that I grew up in the
You
city
spent
of
a lot.
the,
You got a 4. I'm not even gonna make you make a luck roll. This is what it's actually referred to as a crab jumble. It's not that it's a one type of crab.
Okay.
It's a number of different types of crabs that have basically amassed into a giant living crab mountain.
Interesting. Cool.
That rolls along the sea floor of the sea, kind of consistently like churning things up. You know,
Death by crab jumbles is one of the worst ways to go.
you
stand on top
that
and slowly sink like sinking sand, and their pincers bite you and consume you from the flesh outwards.
they do, but they also tend to churn up really valuable salvage also too.
You do get a diamond, but it comes at the cost of being devoured slowly by crabs.
It's up to you if you want to risk it or not.
So, a sea jumble. I don't like the idea of a crab jumble at all. It sounds terrifying. Brim is going to tell both this and that to hold back a little bit, and Brim is going to push forward with the lovely dolphin boat that he's on, the dolphin chariot.
It is a new day, so all of your abilities will also have reset.
Yeah, and I think my objective is to, if I'm familiar with what a crab jumble is, I want to get as close as is risky. Not as close as is dangerous, but as close as is risky. I want to be able to see if I see any salvage. I want to see if I can perceive anything worth risking more to go in.
Cool. Make a D6 roll for me.
Because I am fully aware of just how valuable some of the stuff these guys can churn up.
And normally this is a 1 in 6 chance because of your background, because you're familiar with this. I'm going to give you've got a 2 in 6 chance. You need to roll a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
In order to find something.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look.
Or see something valuable.
A 3.
You don't see anything worth risking your life for. No, it's a big pile. You could try to reposition yourself.
But I know how valuable crab jumbles are.
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to move around the back of the crab jumbles. I would like to get up into whatever this operational crane type thing is.
Cool. And there's a little bit of distance between them. They seem to be kind of moving around it and kind of moving into the empty pockets that it's lifting up. As you approach this kind of double crane contraption, it looks like it's a slow process. Like you watch the crane go down, 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 split up, and it takes hours. And the amount of sand that's left in the crane when it gets to the top is so minimal because of the amount that like sifts out the sides.
Do I see anyone operating this?
You can see figures up above, and like I said, it's obviously that this platform is occupied.
Because my assumption, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but my assumption is that this sea crane here is actually luring in, as classically mining operations do, the crab jumble to sift through the refuse that it's pulling up to the top, and they are harvesting the good stuff from the crab. So
that's not an unrealistic.
And so I would like to climb on board. I am going to either parlay or murder whoever's there.
One of the two.
One of the two.
You don't know which one yet.
I haven't met them yet. Really, it depends on what their first name is.
So you are able to get up a little bit closer. Do you call out? Do you just kind of pull up and hop out? What do you do?
I pull up and like hop onto the first level.
Cool. You start to make your way up, and pretty shortly you see like
I put on a smile.
A guy with looks like a metal pot hat turned backwards. He's wearing like what looks like very rusted armor made out of a bunch of like bits and bobs, and he's literally got.
Hey Tim, how's the day going, man?
He's got a reach or grabber arm. He's literally like pulling like seashells out of the ocean and other little bits of trash.
Tim, hey Tim.
Name's Sal.
Sal. Never heard of a Sal. You're not Tim?
Nope.
Could have sworn just came from next door, the kelp harvesting plant. You told me to bring you some food.
Yeah.
Tim's still working today or no?
Tim?
Yeah.
I don't. Make a luck roll for me.
Okay.
See if there's a Tim here.
So it's a D6. I am very confident, for the record.
I believe that you're very confident. I think. What is that? Is that a 1 or a 6?
That's a 6.
Is that Tim? I mean, Tim's up on shift. Like, did you need him?
Yeah, absolutely. I was told to meet him here. I was told to bring him some stuff.
Oh, he's with Ray's Crux. He's up in the operation room.
How is Ray's Crux these days? Ever since his wife left him.
Yeah, I mean, like he's.
What I know is that every one of these mining operations, their wives always leave them. That was a very safe assumption.
I mean, I don't think it's been good for him. I mean, he's been out here for 3 years.
Yeah.
So she's probably pretty fed up.
It's hard.
So yeah, I mean, they're up there, trying to figure out the next dig spot to kind of.
You guys found anything good recently?
Oh, you know it.
Oh, he was telling me some of the stuff you pulled.
It. Well, that's over.
Oh.
Yeah, it's over my head.
Yeah, blabbermouths don't want to be blabbermouths, right?
Look.
Yeah,
All I know,
yeah.
We pulled the tablet out. It's a golden Phoenician tablet.
I love that for you. That's a big payday.
Yeah, roll a D10 and I'll tell you what it said.
3.
And on it said, though there's night and day, the time does not pass.
I love poetry. Tim loves poetry as well. You knew that about him?
I did not.
I've known the guy since he was young.
Yeah.
I've got some stories, but I don't waste your time.
Right,
What's the code up there? How do I get up there?
No, you just go on up. It's fine.
Just stairs?
Yeah, if you made it past me, they're going to know you're here.
All right, great.
You're good.
Yeah, I start heading upstairs.
Cool, yeah, you kind of make your way up around it. You see, you pass a couple people.
What was that guy's name? Sal. No. So Sal was lit down below.
Tim and then Ray Crux.
Ray Crux. I need to maybe we need to do like a tips and tricks video on remembering names in the 1 week part I have is not the ambient story, it's the specific location and personality names.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I have to write down.
Well, stop introducing names like Tim and other things.
No. My own names are fine.
Oh, no,
I'm kidding.
No, I meant like you brought Tim up, and like Tim now all of a sudden is a person in the story. We didn't have to have Tim.
Well, I liked him though. It's just how my brain works.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I have to write them down, or I won't ever remember them. I forgot Tim moments after I introduced him.
That's fine. So yeah, you make your way up. You pass a couple other people. They all give you their names. Let's go ahead and write them all down.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
No, they all kind of like give you the look, but then like they like are like, all right, whatever.
I kind of mumble Tim Raycrux.
So they're like you see some sifting sand, sorting rubble, like other different stuff.
One of them I look at and I go, tablet.
Yeah, but I mean, DL.
I love poetry. I keep going.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way up to this giant control booth that like has just a ton of levers in it. There's kind of steam and smoke pouring out the top in an operational way, not in a dangerous way.
Yeah.
And you see this kind of heavy set woman who's like she's smoking a big cigar. And she's messing with some of the different like contraptions. And next to it, there's a very studious looking man like taking notes on a pad and like drawing something on some sort of grid pattern.
So I lean back and bellow into the sky so that I'm not actually directing it at one individual. A very joyful Tim. And then I look around to see who reacted.
I mean, everyone looks at you.
I begin moving forward towards the center of where everyone was.
And then the woman turns to look at you. She goes, "Can I help you?"
I point towards her and I go, Raycrux?
No, Tim.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good.
So I have been sent to give you this.
I pull out a plot of plan.
Oh, okay. Who sent it?
I stab her.
Okay. Make a bloodthirsty roll.
Well, this one here. So sorry about this change of plans.
That's fine. I was giving you somebody who could give you information. If you want to stab him, that's great.
17.
Yeah, you stabbed Tim. What do you stab Tim with?
I assume that I have taken the harpoon off of this.
Sure.
You cannot trust him.
I mean, I would have just given you a weapon, but that's fine if you want to pass it over.
Yes, I mean I had it strapped to my back.
Sure.
It's common.
Die Hard style.
It's common. It's common carry practice. So like I pull it off of my back at the same time I thrust it into Tim.
Great. Tim looks at you and says, "Why?"
I do mourn Tim a little bit on the inside.
Well, Tim isn't dead, and everyone is surrounding you. Tim is on the edge of your
How
sphere.
How many people is everyone?
Looking at you. There is the studious-looking individual, and then somebody who is working one of the steam pools, like a valve that was letting off some of the pressure, starts making their way over to you.
I turn around and I scream, "Where the hell is Raycrux?"
And like the studious guy like drops his board and just starts to bolt down the platform.
Yeah, so I say,
Raycrux, stop! You had no idea who Tim was.
Are you using an ability here?
I mean, I am currently trying to convince them that I just did them a favor by stabbing their friends.
Right, so are you trying to use Parlay to connect with somebody for a moment?
I am using Parlay to connect with somebody for a moment.
Alright, so we're going to mark off a use of Parlay for the day. And all of a sudden, Raycrux stops and goes, "What do you mean?" And then he like holds up a hand for the steam technician to stop.
Are you an idiot? How long have you known her?
23 years.
Yeah, not long enough, my man. She, the local fight club just down the way, she sponsored the murder of 17 children recently. She is a known better gambler in debt to her eyeballs. You're putting your whole operation at risk by having her employed here. There are people following me that will not treat you as kindly as I have treated her.
So, Tim is like pulling themselves back up.
Yeah.
And is pulling out a knife and kind of weakly making their way towards you.
I punch Tim in the face.
Go ahead and make an initiative roll for me. So D6, 4 to 6 to see who gets the first act.
Great. I'm so sorry, Tim. 5.
You punched him in the face.
I do.
And they kind of crumple down to the ground.
Okay, great.
I'm telling you, Ray Crux, you cannot be too careful.
Look, I don't know who you are. I don't know what's going on here with you and Tim.
Damn it, Ray Crux.
What I do know is you just said that they sponsored killing 17 conscripts.
It's not like she did it herself, but she's been gambling in the net fighting 3 shores over. I'm sure you're familiar with it. She's in debt up to her eyeballs.
I mean, we almost all
specifically-
gamble there.
She's trading on the lives of the child fighting arena they have in the center of this thing. The night fighting. I'm sure you've heard about it. Hopefully you've never been there.
Who's she trading with?
Trading with the... You know who she's trading with.
No, I don't. That's why I asked you the question.
The Cavern Keepers.
The Cavern Keepers? Who are they?
The people that live in the bottom of the shore.
What are you talking
On
about?
the third side of the nebula. You know what I'm talking about, Ray Crux.
Go ahead and make a mystical roll for me to see if your bluster and
I'm still very confident.
spotting things have worked out. It's not confidence. It's a D20 plus any mystical you have.
Okay. A 7.
So you, it is very clear that Ray Crux does not believe you.
Okay.
You have not sold them on this at all.
I release...
And you can tell because they waved the steam technician forward.
Oh, they've waved the steam technician forward?
Because they had held up a hand. And
I release the spear, I raise my hands, and I say,
Ray Crux, listen. I'm sorry. I don't know all the details. I do know Tim was a threat. There are people following me, like I said, that will not treat you as kindly as I have treated Tim.
and I look towards the steam technician, and I go,
Do with me what you want, but I am here for your own good.
Look, I don't know who you are, but you killed a friend of mine of 23 years. Here's the deal. This machine is not working the way it's supposed to. There are some essential supplies we need. At the beacon, if you can get them, I can forgive this. But otherwise, you're dead to us, and all of the collectors will be after you.
I don't like the collectors. I don't like the supplies. Do I kill Ray Crux now or later? I do feel guilty about Tim. Well, that's easy, sure.
You've got 2 days
yep.
to make it to the beacon, to get past the passion with
Okay.
a K, but not where you think, and to make it back with the supplies. Otherwise, all the collectors will be after you.
I take off sprinting, and I dive off of the side of the crane.
Okay, so you're going to mark a use of dive off. It happens. That works.
It's glorious.
What does it look like as you hit the water?
So it's actually not as glorious as you'd think. I do get a few spins and twists in there, and the sudden rush off the edge is not something either of them expected. So the steam technician's sitting there just like paused in his action. Ray Crux is leaning over the side as he watches me fall, and everything glides in perfectly except for one leg, which I did curl. I kind of curved my knee a little bit, so you hear that smack and like kind of slap against the water in an uncomfortable fashion. The dolphins, I assume, dip down and go to pick me up. So I'm back on my ship by the time I surface again.
They come back around, yeah. They know the maneuver. They're familiar.
They are familiar.
So you've gotten off of the machine platform, back onto your boat.
Gloriously.
Connect back with this and that.
Yeah. And I feel a little bad about Tim, but I do feel like it was justified.
Where are you headed?
There was a lighthouse, a spire.
You said the beacon.
The beacon is specifically in this direction.
Correct.
Yeah, me and the.
Also, overnight, since you were rested, that does regain 1 hit point from getting.
Oh, so the dirt did work.
And so,
You cheeky fellow.
as you
So
head
I've
off
got
in that direction,
3 health and 1 extra bucks.
as you head off in that direction,
Yeah.
you quickly, over the course of the next few hours, as you move along, you kind of it gets later in the day. Day comes and night passes again. Also, all your abilities will be recharged.
Mm-hmm.
That can heal up 1 more hit point.
Ooh.
It's also 2. Let's go ahead and roll.
This also feels stronger.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Okay. Pulling a 8.
You start to see some watercraft in the distance that, as you get close to them, start to phase in and out of existence.
Wow. Glorious beacon. Very nice ship on the front.
Yeah, so I don't know if you caught the name of the ship, though.
No, what was the name of the ship?
The Passion, with a K,
Oh my gosh.
but not where you think.
Spelled out entirely on the side of the ship.
The very ship of the name that your
Yeah.
mother would whisper at night in
Yeah.
her darkest rememberings.
Yeah, and during the day, actually. She almost never woke
It
up.
was pretty constant. However, you notice that it also looks like it is kind of only partially exists on this plane. You can see that it is equipped with very large spectral cannons, and that there is some figures that you see moving across the deck as they phase kind of in and out of existence. It is the Phantom Galleon gashed along the side, the Passion, with a K, but not where you think.
Do I have any context for ever seeing anything like this before?
Oh, there's all kinds. I mean, you've seen all kinds of things on the sea.
Okay.
This particular ocean is weird. It's different. It doesn't feel quite right.
I'm on board with that, but most of the stuff I've seen has been at least within the realm of an ocean.
And you've also seen a ghost ship or two.
Okay.
This many ghost ships,
Is odd.
this quickly,
is strange.
absolutely weird.
Okay.
The one that your mom used to always talk about,
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah. Because her ship specifically crashed and left her and me stranded on a lifeboat, which then birthed me on the seashore where I, as we've all established, got my name after the kelp harvesters? Tide washers?
Froth Harkers.
Froth Harkers. Love that name. Picked me out of the seashore.
Beyond that, you see the beacon right against the background, a lighthouse on a miserable rock. You can see that the light kind of actually just draws you in and makes you want to get to the island as quickly as possible.
Great. I think both this, that, and Brim follow the light. I mean, we're not smart.
Okay.
Yeah, we all, of course, still in the Triforce, the Flying V.
Tell me a little bit about how you outmaneuver the Phantom Galleon, the Passion with a K, but not where you think.
We're shockingly fast on our dolphins, especially if we have some type of destination that is calling to our spirit, and we all agree that we should go there.
Okay.
The Flying V not only creates a tidal wave that keeps each of us from having much friction, both this and that flying on the sides are actually in the wake, so they're able to move extremely fast. I, with my high salty level and ability, am able to cut through the ocean. I have the fastest and most pristine dolphins, and so all three of us, kind of like bikers in the Tour de France, move way quicker uphill than you'd assume we do.
Okay. As you come up to the beacon, you see in front of you this large building
Look at the beacon.
emitting this beautiful pink glow that seems to draw you into its very essence. You see these pink axolotl like creatures sunning themselves on the rock.
I love them.
And you see a number of lush plants that are circling a mermaid statue.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
So all of us are going to go park next to and hop off.
Where are you parking? Which point on the map?
So I'm thinking right here.
Okay.
Kind of side of the reef. We want to get up onto the rock areas here. This and that both start trying to catch axolotls.
Okay. Interesting.
This one, no, that one. This one right here. That one over there. They're not doing the best, but they are putting their all into it, which means at some point they should get one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who catches the first one?
That's what I was going to ask. Can I roll for who catches the first one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so evens is going to be this. Odds are going to be that. There are consequences to this roll. I would like you to know that.
I mean, there are consequences to the roll, and I already knew that.
2, I said even was this or that?
I believe this.
Even was this. That is probably the best decision. This catches one of the axolotls and kind of it gets both hands after.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So it's a little bit more like this. It's large bulldog size axolotl. They're a little slippery.
Hey, that! I got this.
Is the which direction is the axolotl facing? Is the axolotl facing towards this or towards that?
Well, I mean, I caught it around the waist, and they are face down, so it's picked up with its face facing away from me.
Cool.
Presumably would be towards that.
Cool. All of a sudden, the axolotl's tongue slips out and slaps that across the cheek.
Okay, I'd like to make a bite check.
Because you're going to bite it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a... You're actually going to make a bloodthirsty roll.
And it's that is actually responding to the tongue flicking. It's not this that's responding to the axolotl in his hands.
Correct.
If that had received an axolotl himself, he would have tried to consume it.
That's fine.
Okay.
He's going to make it. You're going to make a bloodthirsty roll to see whether or not. We'll see what happens.
Okay, bloodthirsty. Got one modifier here. We are swinging in with a very confident 6.
Cool. The tongue feels a little weird as it slides across your cheek, and it smells like bitter and acrid.
I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, I lose my perceived health point.
Okay. But yeah, what do you do with the axolotl after that happens?
Honestly, they just kind of wanted one. Brim, however, is going to be walking a little bit up towards the shore, exploring the plants.
Yeah, so the plants seem kind of like... Well, you do see some potted plants up ahead that look like they've been a little bit curated.
Okay.
And they're circling a mermaid statue.
I want to make sure... I want to double-check that I am carrying with me the very fine potted soil and maybe 2 of the plants that we got from the trade. I don't think I can probably carry 7 pots with me.
Look, you've got 10 slots of inventory. You put whatever you want in those slots.
So many pockets.
Yeah. It's probably a backpack for some of it.
Yeah, I mean, 10 slots, though, I still don't think I'm carrying all 7 with me.
I don't think you should.
I've got the fancy stuff. I've still got the harpoon. I've taken that. My assumption is I've probably also acquiesced the fishnet. Neither one of these guys can be trusted with much beyond a spork. Which is why we leave them with each. And so I think I have room for 2 plants in the fancy dirt. I don't think I have much room for more.
Okay. Cool.
Approaching the plants, yeah.
Yeah, so you see a mermaid statue in the middle, and off to the side you actually see, well, it looks like a doorbell.
A doorbell. I would like to make a parlay check to ring the doorbell. The reason why I'm making a parlay check to ring this doorbell is, 1, I want my ring to come off friendly, and the way that I'm going to do that is by pressing the button multiple times in what I assume is a very pleasant rhythm.
So as you press it, a song comes out of the mermaid's mouth that's like, oh.
I cut the song off and tap a few times.
And it restarts. And make a mystical save for me. So D20 plus mystical.
Pulling a 17.
How many times did you hit it?
4.
Your brain just feels a little fuzzy.
I love that. I hit it again.
It feels even fuzzier.
I'm kind of into it.
Okay.
I hit it one more time.
You black out for a second.
I love that.
but I'm not near the doorbell anymore.
Correct.
Okay, so I am going to make my way over to the mermaid statue.
Okay.
And take just a closer look at whatever this hallucinogenic item happens to be. I'm considering whether or not I can actually take it with me. It does look bigger than my dolphin chariot.
The mermaid statue?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's attached to the ground.
Yeah.
You can see that there is some sort of like there's an opening
is.
an opening in the mouth that was pouring out whatever that musical sound was.
Okay. I would like to put one potted plant in the mouth.
Now you put a potted plant in the mouth, it fits pretty well.
Love that. Are there any doorways or other things that I can go through?
So after a second or so, you hear, "Who's there?"
I would like to use a parlay check to announce my name. Heyo, it's Brim.
Brim? Oh, I've been waiting for you.
And who, pray tell, are you?
Oh, me? Just the keeper of this lighthouse? Come on up, I've made some tea. Bring your 2 friends with you.
Love that. Oh, they're busy with axolotls.
Yeah, those things are poisonous. Be careful.
Oh, hey, this, that, they're poisonous. We know, boss.
Yeah, go ahead and mark a hit point off of that as the poison racks their body.
Off of that or off of this? This is holding it.
Yeah, towards that, and remember the tongue whipped out at that.
This already lost a perception hit point. Fine, I'll do it.
I love how you're making up extra stats as you go along.
Yeah, I want to make my way up to the voice where the tea is. I would also like to reiterate, as I am still within the realm of my recent parlay check, that I planted a lovely flower-ish plant near the statue.
Oh,
I saw you had plants down there. I brought one from offshore, planted it near the statue for you there.
I've never thought of that particular arrangement, but
No, don't worry about it. That's what more eyes are for, honestly.
Okay, well,
Perception's in the eye of the beholder.
come on up, and then all of a sudden, like, you see, like, and like a metal door, like, swings open.
Yeah, we go skipping inside, specifically skipping.
As you
A little bit.
As you kind of get into the inside, there is a ladder that you can climb up kind of into the central area. You pass this room that's filled with a mammoth skeleton, 2 narwhal tusks, a coral display in a cupboard, fossilized eggs, and a label that says the Great Cephalopod, a carbonized tree, and an inflatable boat underneath a glass case.
Okay, I very slowly and very respectfully walk over to this. I place my hands on both his hips, raise them up to his sides, up to his shoulders.
Are you talking about you haven't found, the guy's not there yet. He's not in the room.
No, I'm here with this.
Okay, with this.
Yeah. This is an emotional moment, though. As my hands get to his shoulders, he realizes I have removed the spork from his pocket. I nod at him, and I lay it down on top of one of the glass displays.
What are you doing?
It looks like a collection of very fine things. I'm adding to it.
I mean, but that's my fine thing.
Oh, you're saying you're this at the moment?
Yeah.
Trust me, this is right.
I mean, no, I'm this.
Yeah. Trust me with this.
But this is this.
I understand this.
Okay.
But if we place this here, this?
That's fine.
No, that's over there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've added a spork to the collection.
Cool.
It was an important step in the process. Trust me, you don't need to know the details.
I think you say there's a reinforced steel door in the back part of the room also, too. Do you keep on heading up?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you head up to the next level, you see that there are a bed of nails and a book that is open on the table there.
Okay. I think this and Brim continue walking up the stairs. I do believe that stops for a second and tests out the bed of nails. He's always been curious.
Sure, make a...
I'll be with you in a moment, boss.
This just looks too good to pass up.
I'll let you make a luck roll. I'm going to make it a little bit easier because you have a level of bloodthirsty, which is good for enduring this type of thing. And that's a big old dummy. So as long as you don't roll a 1 or a 2.
Who's a big old dummy?
Well, he's a little dummy. If you roll a 1 or a 2, it'll be bad for you. If you roll a 3, 4, 5, it won't be bad for you.
3.
Yeah, he gets down to the nails. It's not comfortable.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Not even a bit.
Not a little bit.
I don't buy you.
Well, we're in the ocean, not the bayou.
Okay, great. He'll get up and continue following them, I suppose.
Okay. You make it to the top of the stairs, and you see that there is kind of a individual who's standing by a desk. They're standing near this kind of giant glowing field that they don't. That they're just kind of staring at. They all of a sudden look out at you, and then the person who's standing there fades out of existence. And they go, that didn't work right. Sorry, it's very difficult to maintain attention in here.
Attention.
Yes, it's very hard to focus from in here.
Focus.
Look, if you can help me out, I can offer a little bit of an incentive for you. I mean, I can get you a little bit of salvage if you help me out.
I place very fine soil in the space where the apparition has been appearing.
Okay, but I don't need dirt over. I need to get out of here.
I pick up my fine soil. Fine, what do you need?
Look, I'll tell you what. If you can beat me in a game of chess,
Yep.
It should free me from this. I know that sounds weird.
Okay.
But I've never lost at chess before also too. So really it was a weird choice to lock myself in here and make sure that a game I've never lost at, losing was the only way to get out. But it is the plan.
This is not convinced and continues making their way up the stairs that are spiraling up towards the top of the spire. That and Brim, however, are very compelled. That has always been a fan of chess. I'd like you to know that. Always been a fan of chess.
Okay.
Not good, but always a fan.
Okay.
And Brim is looking around the room trying to get a sense of what is going on here that we're not aware of.
Sure.
So what do I need to do to continue moving them all forward?
So as you kind of move up to this top, you see that there is this giant pulsing beacon.
As this moves up to the top.
As this moves up to the top,
Okay.
they see a giant pulsing beacon.
Okay.
That looks like that they just feel immensely drawn to. Like they feel like it is pulling them in, and almost like it wants them to reach out and touch it.
Okay. Okay.
For those who are still downstairs, you're not entirely sure that this person is who they say they are.
Well, we knew that from the get-go.
Right.
Yeah, mostly because apparitions never are.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
They just aren't.
the person inside
More often
also,
than not, they're actually rabbits.
That's true.
Yeah.
The person inside also may not be who they say they are.
Okay. Apparitions never are. Silly.
What do you want to do?
So I'm looking around the room. Is there anything else? Brim specifically is looking around the room and trying to get a better sense of whatever it is that's creating the apparition. Whatever I see in the artwork here. There's some stuff on the walls. There's a desk. Is there anything worth paying attention to?
Yeah,
or is it all kind of refuge of someone?
You see a couple notes that there's actually a diagram of a chessboard that's been sketched up on the wall with kind of a complex maneuver on it. You see a bunch of tools off to the side. Some of them seem to be missing, and you do note that there's a set of heavy keys that are hanging on the wall also too, next to the tools.
Brim will pick up the keys while that sits down in front of whatever chess game is presented.
Okay.
Don't worry, boss. Yeah, I've got this. Always been a fan of chess.
All right.
Love the game. If you get your piece to the end, you actually get to put the other piece on top of the piece, and you get to become really powerful.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, good luck with that. You do get your pieces across the board.
Always been a fan of chess, I'm telling you.
So he starts a chess game. Is he using the complex chess maneuver that he sees off to the side, or is he just freestyling it?
Well, that has not seen anything. That is just playing chess.
Okay. We'll come back to that in just 1 second. So this feels the desire to reach out, and then all of a sudden, as you're about to touch it,
Yeah.
you do notice that there are 2 buttons on the other side of the room.
Okay. I like to think of this as the brains of the operation. We have established that. And since I do have one additional non-consequential health point, I think I'm going to very lightly brush it.
Brush the light.
And just more the atmosphere of it. You know, and honestly, because of science, there's always a separation between you and the thing you're connecting with.
Sure.
I do touch it, though.
But I do claim I didn't touch it. But I did touch it. But I will, for the rest of my life, establish the fact that I definitely did not touch
As your fingers brush across it,
They only kind of grazed it.
Just a little bit?
Very far away.
Very far away.
There was nothing I could have
the
done.
entire thing shatters.
I don't want it to break.
And you hear rage from downstairs. You hear screaming, "What have you done?
A problem.
What have you done? That's it!"
I point here and I say, no, that's that, and I did this.
All of a sudden, you, the member of your party downstairs hears chanting from inside the glowing box surrounding the figure that they are trapped in.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, you see shadows coming up from the water off the edge of the island.
Okay. Brim very quickly yells out the complex chess move, and that does in fact initiate it. Not in turn order, but does move pieces to a point of being checkmate on the board.
No, it doesn't.
He doesn't?
I mean, he does. Like, him shouting that loud does
Yes.
not do that.
No. That is moving pieces.
Oh, he is moving the. He doesn't
Yeah.
just say it out loud.
It's
He
not
moves
in
the pieces.
order. He's he is moving
Gotcha.
the pieces.
Oh yeah, he's just putting them in the right position.
Yes.
Cool.
Definitely not in player turn order though.
Great, I love it.
But the board is currently in a checkmate position.
As he does that, the entire building starts to shake a little bit.
Love that for all of us involved.
As we start to see the billowing outside and the frothing of the water as a large shape starts to emerge from it.
Okay.
Where's Brim at?
Brim was in the room, had pocketed the keys, and shouted out the complex chess maneuver, which resulted in this successful chess game.
Got you. That's who shouted it out. That's what I was trying
Brim
to figure
shouted out. That just responded accordingly by scattering all the other pieces.
I like that you picked really clear names for all your characters.
What?
Huh? The
those would have been good names.
All of a sudden, as he moves it into the correct position, the light, this light dome around the figure, all of a sudden dissipates, and he goes, "Aha! You freed me, and here comes my friend." And all of a sudden,
I don't think it's good that we've done all the things.
from under the water,
We've solved the chess and shattered the light.
you see tentacles
And
starting to
pocketed
poke
the
out
keys.
from the billowing water.
Have you factored in the spork we left?
I have.
And the plant we
I
planted?
have. You see tentacles start to poke out.
Okay.
Underneath that, you see the yellow, slick dome
Yeah.
of the creature start to crest above the water.
You have a hippopotamoconus.
No.
No.
Followed by the crested bill with even more tentacles peeking out of it as the Quackalope
Horrible creatures.
emerges from
Terrifying,
the water
horrible creatures.
beneath the wave
No. Related to the Quackalope, just with many more tentacles.
and starts to pull itself up onto the land around the beacon.
I would like to do a parlay check.
Okay.
Specifically with the oxalots that we have earlier befriended and licked to see if they do anything to aid.
What are the rules for parlay say?
It says connect briefly with all surrounding animals, sentient creatures, and ocelots.
And you added animals and ocelots in there.
What?
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you go out, you start to talk to the ocelots, and they're like, "Meow."
I licked them. One of us licked them.
Okay, go ahead and make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
I'm not currently licking them. One of us in the past has
Oh,
already
was licked by one.
has.
Got you.
It was a mutual.
Licking.
I don't want to, cast
Consensual
aspersions.
licking.
Yeah, it was a consensual licking. That's into weird.
The Quackalope, a tentacle whips out of its mouth and it just chomps down on one of these axolotls as it starts to make its way towards you.
And takes damage.
You know, there's no way to know. It could
Clearly suffering.
be immune to poison.
Clearly horribly suffering.
Have you met a Quackalope?
Always.
Have you met a Quackalope?
Oh man, what do I know about this place that could benefit me? Okay, I'm going to do a lot of things very quickly.
All right.
So that is going to checkmate the king,
Sure.
like knock it over,
Yeah.
then stomp on it,
Okay.
destroys the chessboard.
Okay.
Take that, chess. Always been a fan. This is going to run out of the room and go straight for the spork.
Okay.
Okay, it's in the
Are they sliding down?
sliding down the stairs. Absolutely.
Make me a salty roll to see how well they slide down and stop at the right level.
Salty roll. That is a solid 2.
They slide down it, and then they're like, "Ha ha!" And they look up, and they have definitely slid down to the very bottom level.
Oh darn it! My spork. Is it a slide? Now. It's not stairs. It's a slide.
It's a ladder.
Climbing back up it would be complicated or
You
timely.
have to climb up the ladder, yeah.
Yeah. And out front, Brim is going to start ringing the doorbell
Okay.
aggressively.
It's you keep on ringing it, and you
Yeah.
hear very muted.
I sing along while I ring it. Theoretically, that'll keep me from blacking out. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard to hear right now because
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but somebody stuffed a potted plant into the mouth of the mermaid.
I do know that. After I ring it, let's say 22 times,
Okay.
I'm going to double back and collect the potted plant.
Okay.
Theoretically, it absorbed whatever poison was being spread by the singing, and this potted plant now contains the essence of passion.
If there was poison, and if that poison is the essence
Yeah.
of passion,
The potted plant contains it.
then the potted plant, if those things are true, then yes,
I
absolutely.
will add a poisoned, passionate potted plant to my inventory.
Sure.
Don't you
Just
worry.
make sure you put a question mark behind that.
I will add a question mark on top of it. But we all know the truth.
Yeah.
It's in my inventory.
Sure.
Okay. What is the Quackalope doing?
The Quackalope is headed towards
Quackalope.
the Quackalope.
Quackalope. Yeah.
Like part Kraken,
Yeah.
part alope.
You said Quackalope.
I'm sorry, they're very similar.
Fair. It's an important distinction,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Much less tentacles.
Sometimes it is headed towards the lighthouse, eating anything that it can give it harm. You actually watch it come upon this giant tank of electric eels off
Is
the
that
side.
guy down here?
No,
That we
no,
never
no.
explored? Oh, it's the big one here that we
Yeah,
never
and
explored.
it just bites into him, and all of a sudden you watch electricity surge across its body.
Ooh.
It howls into the sky, and then makes its way forward. It's coming towards Brim, tentacles stretched out towards.
Coming towards Brim, tentacles are stretched out. I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure how to deal with this thing. So I am going to do the one thing that I do know how to do.
Okay.
I'm going to look around for any type of rope that I can cut and swing by.
Make a luck roll.
Yes. 5.
Hanging down, sparking with electric power.
That's what I thought.
There are wires
Yep.
that go about halfway up the building and seem to even kind of circuit up from that point towards the top.
Okay. I'm going to grab one and try to get some loft.
Okay, so you're like running out and around, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm grabbing onto the rubberized part of it, letting the electrical current kind of hang down below, and I'm going to run off the edge of this mountain pass, or this rocky kind of alcove, and try to get some swinging around.
I love it.
Okay.
To get where?
I'm looking at reaching close to the top of whatever the Quackalope's head is.
Yeah, that's I think what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to do a couple loops here. So you swing out and around. Its tentacles like reach out, getting just within a little bit of you as you swing further out of reach. You get up to this kind of like midway point on the building as you land. I'm going to need you to use another swing if you want to get at its head.
I've used one swing already. Second swing to get at its head. I will commit to that.
Okay. So you run and you hop off and you kind of crescendo out away from the building, and as you're coming back, you're able to change like your direction a little bit so that you'll apex right about where its head is.
As I rise above it, I would like to dump out the potted plant that had previously been stuffed into the mouth of the mermaid.
Okay. The potted plant
on top of the creature.
The potted plant drops down onto the creature.
I'm dumping the soil.
Right.
Yeah.
So the soil dumps down on top of the creature.
Yeah.
It covers its head.
Okay.
It gets in its eyes and it goes.
It's working.
And then it goes.
I love that. I feel very good about the actions that I've taken so far. From there, I'm going to let go of the cable and drop with a spear or a harpoon, kind of like if you're like sitting.
Yeah.
You're just falling down.
Pogo stick style.
Yeah, pogo stick style. Just kind of down.
Towards the rocky outcrop below?
No, towards the creature below me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're trying to pierce down into it.
I dumped it. Within moments, I feel like I'm successful, and now I'm just falling.
Great. Use an ability. I will accept a
dive ability. You're right. I'm diving towards the eyeball of the creature.
You are diving. Well, that's a. You know what? What does it say?
Dive. Move gracefully underwater for.
I was like, I literally was like, what did I write for that exactly?
But hear me out. Isn't the air
just water of the
to
sky?
The fish? Yes.
Actually, I was like, eyes are pretty aqueous, and so once you're inside the eyeball,
very liquid.
Go ahead and make. I think, given the state of things, you're just falling.
I am falling,
and so bloodthirsty doesn't make as much sense.
But what is diving but falling?
But I'm going to let you make a salty roll on this because of you're coming off the swing.
All right,
and because I like
it. Solid roll of a 2 plus 4. Luckily, because I'm very skilled, we're gonna hang gracefully in the air with a roll of a 6.
Sure, no, you're falling.
Okay, great. Well,
so
I thought maybe describing it would help you out.
Yeah, so I think the question here is,
yes,
where are you falling? What is beneath you when you miss when the Quackalope swoops beyond you, raging around, unable to see because of the dirt in its eyes?
So in terms of positioning, it's mostly plants and garden below me.
It's mostly...
He had eaten this. I had swung up around this area. I'm falling probably down somewhere around here where there's...
Oh, he ate these plants over here, not these plants over
No, he ate this.
Yeah, but he has not come over here.
He's like in this position.
Sure, so you're saying it's mostly rocks underneath you?
Yeah.
I don't know why that was your argument.
Maybe a plant. Can I say there's one very plump oxalot?
Go ahead and make me a luck roll.
I can talk my way out of this if you just let whatever I say be true.
I think there is a 1 out of 6 chance that you are headed towards anything besides rock.
Oh, you'd be wrong.
I mean, I was right about the numbers.
Yeah, but the odds are always in my favor.
You break and crest into the shallow waters below.
Ooh.
You normally would pierce too deep. The only way out of this is some sort of beautiful aquabatic maneuver.
So like a dive.
Like a dive. Do you want to mark off a use of dive?
So I do think I have I did mark off one use. I will mark off another use. I do think I have a justification for what the dive, like what brought me out of this. Considering the pogo stick was through my legs, I assume it kind of like clipped into the rocks, gave me a little bit of non-violent buoyancy, and then allowed me to sweep out of the position.
Sure. You can also just know how to hit the water, right?
Now, I get only 4 uses of all of these abilities throughout this, right?
Per day. So they reset every day.
But a total of 4 uses.
Per day.
Yeah. So far...
No. 4 uses each. Of each
4
item.
uses each. Okay, so like I've used a couple swings. I've used a couple parlays. I have technically used 2 dives so far, diving towards the eyeball, diving towards the ocean now to save myself.
Yeah. As you look up, you can see the giant Quackalope silhouetted against the sky above you, raging and destroying the exterior of the beacon, biting axolotls.
Man.
Where are this and that
at? The collectors are really going to not be happy
They're
with
not.
this. This is not going as planned.
You're correct.
So that was in the process of destroying a chessboard. He would not have changed that objective unless the destruction of the building has drawn his attention. The building's destruction.
The lights have all flickered on and off, like the mildly electric lights and other things have flickered on and off. It is evident that there is something going on.
Yeah, so that is going to be climbing the stairway up to the top area where he last saw this go.
Okay.
Missed the whole slide down thing.
Cool.
This successfully slid down to the base camp here, has seen the consumption of all of the oxalots, including, I assume, the one that he befriended.
Yeah. It's sad.
Which means he is very upset. Does not have any weapons. And is the Quackalope still on ground level at all, or is it climbing up into this building?
It's not trying to climb the building so much as it is just destroying everything around it.
This is going to rush one of the tentacles.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
What is he doing with it?
He's biting it.
Okay. Could make me a bloodthirsty roll.
Okay, perfect. Do I need to mark a rage?
If you're going to make 2 attacks, mark a rage.
Fist and tooth for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, bloodthirsty.
So is he trying to bite and rip this tentacle off?
Oh, it is very violent. I wouldn't want to describe it for a children's show.
Okay.
Yeah. 13, but I get advantage, right? Because it's bloodthirsty?
No, you get to make a second attack. Though.
Second attack, I hear. The second attack is a pure 20.
A pure 20?
A pure 20.
That means you're going to get your rage ability back immediately. So crit's basically just recharge ability.
I am totally happy with a full recharge on crit.
You rip off the tentacle. It comes out and free in your hand.
Yeah.
As all of a sudden another one whips out and just bashes into the side of you.
Okay.
Unless you make a successful salty roll.
Salty roll. Ooh, salty of a successful 5.
It slams into you and knocks you across. You're going to take 2 damage.
Successful 5.
Yeah, I understand. I heard.
Okay, great. Is that my perceived damage or is that damage?
Actual damage.
Actual damage. Great. I do still.
You do perceive it.
I will maintain my perception box though, just in case that needs to come off sometime later in the future. So back over here to that who has climbed up to the top of this area. I assume I'm able to look down and see out now.
Yeah.
And get a sense of what's going on.
You see the Quackalope raging down below.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I did actually hold on to one of these earlier, so we could just do positioning.
Cute. Very concerning. That would like to drop one very heavy normal potted plant from the top towards the Quackalope.
Sure. Absolutely.
Just leveraging whatever materials we have down below.
Sure. Go ahead and throw it.
I'll mark off a potted plant.
Make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
I will make a bloodthirsty roll. We have a 3.
You whiff it. You hit. There was an axolotl that just had come up. Had been asleep. It's and it did the axolotl the equivalent of hey, what's up, everybody? And your potted plant crammed right into it, knocked it back down into the water. Hopefully, it's okay.
I like that.
I like how you were like, I stabbed him, but this axolotl hurting him by accident is too much.
I didn't lie about what Tim was.
So you do also see there are two buttons nearby.
Okay. Yeah.
Near up where you are at.
So we'll come back to that in just a moment. Brim has just recovered from diving into the ocean. Mm-hmm. I would like to grab my dolphins.
Okay. And leave these suckers?
And begin leaving the island.
I love it. Okay.
Okay, great. So that while that happens, that would like to press both buttons.
Okay, great. Because that's what you have to do. And I love that you didn't mess around with either button for the thing that needs to happen. I mean, so...
Have you throughout this entire story come under the assumption that that would do anything but press both buttons?
So, all of a sudden, you see this thing start to spin up. The last little bit of electric power in this place drains out as the room starts to go dark.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, a pulse of purple lightning erupts into the sky and triggers the doldrums throughout the clouds up above. All of a sudden, you see a dark shape start to form in the sky.
That doesn't sound like help.
And you see the clouds start to billow.
Yeah.
And you see all of a sudden tentacles drop out of the sky
Okay.
as a giant floating box jelly starts to descend towards the island.
That is going to slide down the stairway as fast as possible.
Make a salty roll for
I
me.
would love to make a salty roll for you. 5.
He does make it down to the bottom of the
Okay,
stairs.
great. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Take 1 damage.
Okay.
As you trip and fall and just
Eat it.
eat it.
Completely.
Yeah.
This is going to rush over and help that up.
Isn't this out here now?
Yeah, I mean, this has been out there. This.
Well, but there, he's right here. This is the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, that's the bottom of the stairs? Well, he wants to go... Oh, sorry. He's going to follow up with a slide down the slide ladder, too.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah. Without a problem?
No problem with that one.
Love that. This is going to rush over to his brother, tentacle in hand, a little bit dazed from being knocked over to the side.
Sure.
That! Oh my god! Have you seen what's going on? This is crazy. No, I'm not crazy. That's crazy. No, you're not crazy. Holy cow! There's no cows. It's a duck.
The Quackalope turns its attention towards the two brothers as they start to argue and starts to lumber their way by sound alone.
Okay. Neither one of them has a fishnet, harpoon, or any useful item. Brim, for the record, is still going fast. Can both this and that make a perception check, not for the Quackalope lumbering towards them, but for Brim having left the island?
I mean, there are no perception checks, and they are all
understand.
They are
what
all
I'm
your characters,
saying.
so you can just decide if
Can
they
I
want to.
notice that they're gone?
If you feel like it is something we want to leave up to luck, then we should make a luck roll.
I would like to make a luck roll.
Sure, roll a d6.
You can see that I've played D&D before and
I know.
not other things.
Yeah, because in a lot of games, this is a great thing. In a lot of games, perception is not a thing. You basically do what they call interrogating the fiction. You just ask questions, and you either know or don't know. But in a situation like this where you want there to be a chance that you have or haven't, and you want to leave it up to the dice, yeah, we make a luck roll.
Okay, interesting. 5. That would be
I think absolutely they know.
a positive determination, which is going to script the next thing that they do. Both of them notice. They turn to each other and they say, "Flying V." They both start running towards the shore.
Cool. I need them each to make a salty roll to dodge around the tentacles that are reaching out for them.
Salty roll on tentacles. Starting with this is going to be for that.
Okay.
Yep. So this one is...
This is going to be for that.
That's roll a 19.
Nice.
And that one is going to be for this. A 12.
Cool. So what happens as all of a sudden the one who rolled a 12...
This or that?
That, I think.
So that one was for this. And the first one was for that.
So then this, all of a sudden, as they are getting ready to try to, all of a sudden feels I didn't say a word there, I just said trade. as they are getting ready to escape.
I heard a word that made sense, though.
Contextually, it did. They feel a tentacle reach out and grab around their foot as they are headed almost off the island back to their dolphin.
So this still has rage. Because this successfully refreshed rage
By rolling a critical success.
And ripped off a tentacle previously.
Correct.
This is overconfident that this, not that, can in fact do that again.
Okay.
With probably the help of that. But mostly just this is doing it. So I'm going to take another rage roll, double attack.
Okay.
Looking to remove this tentacle as I run. First roll is a 12. Second roll is a 18. Both of those are modified by 1. We've got a 19 and a 13.
Cool. You now need to make a defense roll because the creature gets a free attack on you also too. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll narrate the
on the 20.
On the 20, yeah. Plus salty.
Defense roll is going to be a 9.
9. So tell me what it looks like as by sheer strength of brotherhood.
Yeah.
They rip this other tentacle off together by pulling away from the thing, and then what happens as another tentacle whips out and slams into them? Tell me about what it happens and what.
So this was already holding a tentacle, and I think that gets knocked out of his hands as this new tentacle wraps around this. This, though, instead of being what you'd assume to be intimidated by a tentacle, instead looks over at his brother and says, "I've done that once, come on, man." Grabs it, bites into the side of it, and begins tugging. This feet are slipping on the stone, are shifting a little bit, but that, inspired by the sheer force of his brother, and with such a effective dodge roll from the get-go, circles back around, locks teeth into the opposite side of the tentacle, leverages himself, and pulls. Those two bite marks create what you'd call in science a tenuous friction. That friction then creates what you would call sandpaper-like ripping, and that sandpaper-like ripping creates tentacles that tiny little spider-like veins that slowly pull apart, leaving black goop spread over all the water. What they didn't account for is the second tentacle that is sweeping down from behind. They didn't notice it. This and that are very fixated on the fact that they have currently chewed through an initial tentacle.
Sure.
Both of them, though, are probably harder to get a hold of than you'd assume, both because of the black goop seeping from the tentacle they just bit off, and because they're kind of both hunkered down low, having just pried everything they could to rip off that initial one.
They still get hit, and they each take 1 damage.
Okay, great, perfect. That seems about right.
As they get knocked prone, all of a sudden they see, as they look up together, eyes in eyes, we see mirrored in their visage the bill of the Quackalope opening up, tentacles coming out of its beaked mouth as it gets ready to envelop them all, before all of a sudden that giant floating box jellyfish slams into the side of the head of the Quackalope, knocking it off to the side, allowing them to escape down, as all of a sudden the Quackalope and the giant box floating jellyfish start to grapple with each other for dominance of this island.
Great. So this and that, if they've been given the option to, are hopping in the back of their dolphins and pursuing after Brim with a flying V.
Cool. Love it. You make your way away from the island. You see smoke going up. As you leave, you all of a sudden look in front of you, and you see coming down incredibly quickly the Passion with a K, but not where you think. Closing on the flying V as it reappears into the air. And I think that's a great place to stop our session for today.
I have successfully destroyed an island, successfully become rejects from a fighting arena, not solved the mystery of the Passion.
With a K, but not where you think.
With a K, but not where you think. Not collected the resources that I need to make up for the death of... What was the name?
Tim.
May she rest in peace.
You've made an enemy of the Collector faction.
I have made an enemy of the Collector faction. I don't think that's really the biggest problem I have. The biggest problem I have is that was meant to regain his spork at some point during this mission, and on his pathway down towards the spork, never did.
Yeah.
we're going to have very high conflict in the next season of this episode.
So you find yourself
Yeah.
aboard a pirate galleon.
Yeah.
You are taken below decks.
Okay.
You are locked into a hold. A green light flickers into existence. As all of a sudden, you look around and you notice that you are in a room full of pigs. And one of them has wings. And this has been Down We Go on the Bottled Sea. And just for full clarity, the Phantom Galleon in that thing, literally salvaged within its hull, and 2d6 pigs locked within the hole.
Oh
no! Not even a thing I just had
that's
in for
amazing.
fun. But yeah, so this has been playing on the Bottled Sea, which is a micro.
We're messing with a micro module with a lot of room to, like, so much stuff you could create from that. And you're working off the format it was giving you and playing with the answers I was providing.
Correct.
Built into this system. Now, this system provided for the stats, the dice rolls, some of the, like, the way that I was interacting with the thing.
Yep.
The luck mechanic was in this system.
The luck mechanic is in the system.
I really like the luck mechanic.
Yeah.
I like the concept of negotiating how good I should be at something.
And we really wanted a roll function, because actually Marcus does less like D20 rolls than I do. The creator, like, we both run it different ways, which is one of our favorite things. Like, early on it was like, well, should we run it the same way? And it was like, it doesn't matter, because once we put this on people's tables, they decide how they run it
their way.
So he doesn't do as many D20 rolls as I do typically. I do more D6 rolls than he does most of the time also.
I selfishly find D20 or D20s or D10s. If the D10 has a custom symbol, like Kingdom Death or like the lantern, those are the most satisfying dice for me.
Yeah.
Because it feels good to roll a perfect hit.
But the D6 was basically like, okay, there's a lot of things that characters should be able to do.
Yeah.
That aren't necessarily covered in the rules, and so just saying it's luck, or like, hey, if you're totally like, you're not going to be able to do a lot of the things that these other people do, but you might luck into it. And so by having that modified roll, and it works both ways. Like, it starts off 50-50, then you kind of say, hey, are you good at this? Do you have a lot of levels in this? We're just going to bump that up, right? And if you ever hit like, hey, there's a 100% chance that you could succeed, or 100% chance that you would fail, then you don't make that luck roll. Like, luck cannot help you in this situation, but the negotiated give, take, back, forth, do you have an item that's going to help you? Is there a background piece that you want to name? Do you want to build out a little piece of who you are to tell me why you should be able to succeed? And Down We Go, the current version, which is the established version, it's just releasing right now, doesn't have something that I added in Through the Void. It's sister game, it's all space and sci-fi, called Backgrounds. But Backgrounds, we have written a number of custom ones for this. I even had written some for this game, but didn't throw them in because it felt like one more complication. But they can provide another thing that might influence, hey, does my background mean that I might be better at this thing? Does that influence my luck roll? But it's this really fun negotiated mechanic that, again, a lot of what we're trying to do is say, how do we take that classic, like, high fantasy or low fantasy narrative experience? It's more lethal, right? You were getting beat up a lot. There was chances you could have easily died in this.
I had some...
Yeah. But how do we provide...
I was one health away.
How do we provide big narrative pop in that? And how do we get rid of the weird things that exist between the players and the GMs? And so the lore building is a piece of that, taking your questions. And you rolled horribly, by the way, on the...
I was wondering about that.
On the taco. The transdimensional taco did not come into play because your knowledge of the recipe is so far off that, like, it exists...
I really love the concept of the rumor system.
Yeah.
I find that so cool because it invites the players to be part of the creative story while still giving agency for the DM to run the narrative.
And I want to talk to you about that because you're somebody who loves to GM. Not right now, but I want to do a totally different conversation about that. You love DMing, and I want for somebody who has never run a system like this, and even though you haven't run it still, you've experienced, hey, this is what it's like. Like, I don't make rolls. I'm just commanding story.
Sure.
And even that, I'm weaving in what you told me. I want to talk to you about that in a follow-up video, just about GMing and some of the ways that we deconstruct that in the system. Cool. But yeah, it's absolutely fun. And, like, again, even though, like, we did a custom class, I built that custom roll today in like 15 to 20 minutes. Like, it's something that's really easy to just freestyle and add in.
I was going to ask you this question off camera, but I think I'm going to ask it to you on camera, and I'm going to codify it with two with two statements, other than the statement I've already made. First off, I really genuinely want your accurate answer.
Okay.
I mean that, and I mean that on camera.
Sure.
And I'm asking this because I think it's a very interesting question that I had been in the back of my mind, being like, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I should check this on him. I should ask about this. In terms of I love being a DM. Mm-hmm. I don't actually have much experience being a player.
Right.
And it's not my favorite role to play.
I know, I can tell.
Yeah.
Because you love to take over those little bits of story and start building it out.
I love the puzzle and the stringing together of everyone else's imagination into something that, because I'm so visual, that when someone says something and everyone adds their little narrative, in a system like this, I see a whole scene and I can just describe to you what's happening. It makes it very easy for me to take your thing and say yes to it. As a player, and this is what I want a very accurate answer to, and we'll end the video on this. I'll actually
fade to black.
I'll just be quiet again and sit back to the side. And I'm not looking for compliments.
Yeah.
As a player, as someone who does not have much experience being on the reciprocating end of a DM, especially in a 2-player setting, how was I to play with? And this is where I'm going to avoid getting compliments. What could I have been more conscious of or done better to facilitate the game state?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things that go into this, and we're going to talk a little bit about table culture and that Monday Musing that I was talking about, which will feed into this a little bit. As a 2-player game, this was great. It's super fun because you and I were really good about ripping off each other. There was obviously we're going to from the get-go, we were going to play a goofy, fun setting. I built a trans-dimensional taco in, but even we had emotional stakes also too. We had a brother connection. We had a mom story, right? We had things we could pull on in there also too. So it was great. If this had been a table setting, there would have probably been a lot of this.
Calm down.
Right? And I probably might have said, I may have at some point said, hey, we need to X this, that stuff because it's funny, but
it's much.
And again, in a 2-player thing, not a problem. If we've got 3 or 4 people around the table, are they all tracking? Is that what everybody wants? And some of that comes down to what are we looking for out of the game, right? And again, we've seen this in any number of systems, but especially narratively flexible systems. They give you a lot of latitude to go where you want to go. You can go gonzo. You can go very grim and gritty. You can get really dark and heavy. That's not the game we were playing. It was just a fun game. So I actually super enjoyed it.
Just being a murder hobo.
Well, I don't know why you stabbed Tim then. And so
I corrected Tim's stabbing.
And here's the thing. It's really funny. Even with that, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
As a GM, somebody the other day on TikTok was people who kill your NPCs during monologues, are bad players. And I'm like, no, stop monologuing. That's not a good way to impart information. If your players aren't into it, and a lot of times the natural response when somebody starts trying to expose their grand plan as you is, well, they're exposed and I've got a gun. I should shoot that guy. He's the bad guy telling me his plan. Why am I waiting? It doesn't matter why he's trying to destroy half the planet. I'm going to. It's actually more fun for me narratively if they realize after they killed him, he had a good reason to be destroying half the planet. Here's the bigger thing he was, or whatever. Those, it doesn't bother me, but it's always a really interesting thing. And that can have a deals. But again, I think 9 out of 10 times, any of those things comes down to, are we all bought in on the same thing? And I was like, awesome, great, I love it. I'm just going to amplify the stakes for you. You've got an entire faction that's pissed at you for killing one of their own now. That's a great narrative consequence. It wasn't immediate. You also fled the scene and used abilities to immediately get out of that. You played it out the way it should be if you were yeah. Oh, you're all mad? Sweet, I'm out. So I love that. I also loved that it became a thing, your character did that, and then I'm going to run from the island also too, which was a thing that potentially could y'all have had the abilities to deal with the Quackalope. Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the Quackalope?
Yeah.
But it's a big problem.
There was a chance to deal with it. Right. Is what you're telling me.
Right. Well, and things you could have done. There's a spell book in the tower that y'all just walked past and didn't look at.
We laid down on a bed of spikes.
Yeah, instead of looking at the spell book. It's fine. It's all good. And the Quackalope I added based on the rumor, and like originally it was maybe going to be like, because this was a day countdown, because this only lasts for a certain period of time before it disappears and you can't get out of the bottled sea again for an extended period of time.
Interesting.
It just switches to being a normal hex when you get back there. And had you made it back there, there would have been a final showdown with the Quackalope there. But now when you get back there, it will just be
an empty
NPC. And in this adventure, there are myths that let you learn how you can get out now that that is closed, but you have to go to a certain place and do a certain thing in order to be able to do that. So again, one of the things I love about it, and the reason I picked this is it blends with it well, but
from the
you
first
played
fight
well.
to the murder to the showdown here, Brim did not establish himself as a character that gets involved or stays involved.
No, you were totally consistent in your characters. And it also, one of the things I did super love about your play is you did something I really enjoy, which is, all right, I have a main character who's very capable and confident, and he's over there. And I'm going to play the two, like, Tweedledum, Tweedledee brothers through this whole thing, who all they can do is hit hard, and then in doing so, expose themselves to being hit again.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all that they can do.
I thought they were really fun. Like, I thought Brim was interesting in my mind, and I really enjoyed the scene at the crane to give Brim a chance to stand out.
Right.
But I really enjoyed the like just imagining a dynamic between a this and a that.
And they also they made sense as a group by and large in the end. At first it felt kind of like, okay, here's somebody who just kind of runs roughshod over these two dumb brothers, but really it's like, oh no, they're all kind of the same, but these two are going to stick together, and this one is going to cut and run as soon as he can.
But this and that are blindly and offensively loyal.
Right.
The fact that they pursued for a flying V, not under the impression that Brim had abandoned them.
Right, but he was like
he was leading the charge for the flying V to form up again.
Right. And so, like I said, it was super enjoyable.
Which could, let's say we're playing through a longer campaign, could lead to a point in 2 or 3 episodes where they start coming to terms with the fact that Brim is not the loyal leader and the diligent forefront.
Correct.
They had assumed. Like, there's some moral consequences there.
And the best thing is, since time doesn't pass in the Bottle Sea, as long as you spend exploring here until you figure out how to get out, if you survive the process, as soon as you get out, you just right back to wherever you were in your previous adventure because no time has passed.
This was really cool. I'm super interested in this system. We'll talk about it more. We'll talk about it more when we get into it. I had a lot of fun with this, and one of the things that I love about an RPG is, and it might just be, are you a very visual person?
So I use mostly theater of the mind when I run. Like, I like tools like this that are very simple. I'm the kind of person who's like, if we need more visual, I can envision things. Yeah.
So I fully recognize that I have an advantage over some people who don't have. I don't know if it's an advantage. I have an experiential difference from some people who don't have as much of a imagination, and some people who have like aphantasia, for instance, which is actually a limiting of the ability to picture anything. Yeah. I am maybe overproductive when it comes to the visualization side. But one of the things that I love about running an RPG is I feel like I just spent the last couple hours watching a movie.
Right, yeah.
And so like I'm going to go away from this experience, unlike a board game, I'm going to go away from this experience with this narrative and this music and this lore and these characters playing in my mind.
And I will leave you with a little bit more because it was really funny. Also, all the dirt you ate. It was really funny because the faction that we mentioned were the Froth Harkers.
You can't tell me they didn't heal me a little bit.
So all day long, the sea sadly tries to unite with its lover, the shore. At night, it retreats in frustration, singing songs to itself of the next day's plans. Only the Froth Harkers can interpret these songs, so they are charged with disassembling the docks and rebuilding them wherever the seas will be, right? So which we played out. And they have things they might ask adventurers to do, other things, but like they were just like your buds because they pulled you out of the waves and were like, hey, obviously the sea's gone out, but he needs the sea, so we're just going to send him to this micro sea. But there is another faction that you kept on bringing to mind, which is my favorite one.
Okay.
The Dirt Lickers. Charged by Holy Writ and protected by city law, These dry-tongued pilgrims can be seen licking and eating the various flavors of dirt, sand, clay, and soil all across the city. They pay extra for exotic flavors of particulates exported from dungeons. Late at night in hidden basements, the dirt lickers convene to regurgitate the soils they ate, molding them into massive and slow-spinning potter wheels, into spit-bound earth elementals that serve their obscure occult purposes.
So that has a future that he might
There's
not know
a thing,
about.
right? Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I can't wait till you get out of the bottle seat and just run into some dirt lickers who are like, "Oh, you ate a lot of dirt, did you?"
They can
let's
notice.
see
They
if we
can
can
see
get
it
that
on
out.
you.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And again, the factions were all written by an amazing creator. We're going to talk about one of his other games, one of their other games, Aaron King, who's one of my favorite creators. But Aaron is one of the first people I will go to when I'm writing something and just be like, write me 10 of whatever, because it just immediately gets me out of my own head and into things. But Aaron also writes some of the weirdest, most beautiful things you could ever imagine, and is a great person to build non-traditional like factions and ideas around. So froth arkers are great, dirt lickers are great. Versus collectors and things that are part of the adventure, which are very interesting but different. Collectors, a Masonic lodge of inventors and innovators, junk artificers rumored to assemble automatons from salvaged art, obsessing with creating an artificial island, right? Which is the giant machine you went to. But there's also in the adventure the Ithies, which are amphibious mutants, the Shepherds, a cult that owns and worships sheep for their wool and sweet milk, and the Rainmakers, priests of the rains. In truth, liars who use a secret timpanous procrastinator, a barometer with bell-ringing leeches to forecast the weather and control the populace.
If I had found the Shepherds, I would have just joined them.
I do want you to know. See this room down here with these manacles in it? There's shepherds down there.
Oh, I would have joined the heck out of them.
Yeah,
life would have been good.
Depths.
Yeah, I would have just stayed
Maybe
there.
they'll survive.
All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this dive into a RPG system. If you have watched and survived all the way to this point in the video, you literally have no excuse but to go purchase a copy of Down We Go. Not only because we have this very handsome gentleman who is kind enough to come visit, drive out of his way, and help run and showcase and share the thing that you just spent the last few hours enjoying. So, pay some commission fees, like tip in. But also, I'm telling him, you don't have to tell him that. But also, this is one of these projects that's doing something outside of the realm of classic RPGs. It's something that's accessible, easy to explore, and worth having on your shelf. So, swing out, go pick up a copy. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here. Remember, the more support you give this video, the more you share it, like, comment, and let us know you want to see more, the more likely I am to be able to talk Tony into visiting me again, because he's the only answer I have so far to the problem of playing RPGs. We'll see you next time. Bye.